Okay, good evening everyone. Welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. This is Sham Kakud here. Now, if there is no issue with the sound, can you please give me a thumbs up? Let me know that I'm audible to you so that we can start with the discussion. Done. Let's start. Let's start. So, last week, Friday, what we have done, we started with the concept of agriculture and food processing. Okay, agriculture and food processing. Now, before I start the discussion, please do let me know. All of you have read the newspaper articles that I gave you last week. Do let me know. Did you people read the newspaper articles compilation that I gave you last week? Right? If not, please read. Why? I don't know what is the reason. Some of you are saying not yet. Why? What are you waiting for? Right? Please understand this. All those articles are really important for you. Please read those articles. Right? Don't wait. Don't wait. Do not waste time. Right? Do not waste time. Do not waste resources. Right? So read those articles. Okay. Now with that caveat, let's start the discussion. Agriculture and food processing. Right. In Friday's class, we have discussed the concept of MSP, minimum support price. Okay, we have discussed minimum support price. Right. What is this minimum support price? Minimum support price basically is the price that is announced by the government at which at which the government will purchase the food grains irrespective of the market prices. Correct? It is the price at which government will purchase the food grains irrespective of the market price. Market price could be higher, could be lower, doesn't matter. Okay, so government will pay the money and purchase the food grain. That price is called as a minimum support price. Point number one. Point number two, mid 1960s, somewhere around 1966-67, we started introducing the concept of MSP. Reason that was given by the government was very simple. At that point of time, we were promoting green revolution, and because of green revolution, the production would be higher, supply would be higher, and the prices would start falling down. Prices would start coming down in the in the domestic market. In order to control that particular situation, in order to provide certain relief to the farmers, government started making the payment which is called as a minimum support price. Third important point, MSP even today, we do not have any legal status, legal recognition given for MSP. We do not have any legal recognition, meaning what? There is no law. There is no law in India which will provide guaranteed MSP to the farmers. Absolutely no law. And that is the precise reason we have discussed. If you provide legality to MSP, if you provide legal recognition to MSP, what would be the benefits or advantages of it? And if that is done, what would be the concerns or issues related to that action of the government? We have discussed that as well. Right. So these are certain important points regarding minimum support price. And if you remember it very carefully, I told you the MSP is announced by the government, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, for 23 crops. It is announced by the government for 23 crops. Although it covers 23 crops, government doesn't procure all the crops because government doesn't require all the crops. Government will purchase, that is procure, only those crops which are needed, which government wants to distribute. Only those crops government will procure. Okay, that is a basic idea. But apart from that, we also discuss the concept of FRP, fair and remunerative prices. Fair and remunerative prices. FRP, fair and remunerative prices. Okay, so the fair FRP is given for sugarcane. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs will announce it. It is paid by the mill owner. Why do we have it, etc., etc.? All of that we have discussed. We were supposed to start from this particular point, that is the concept of food subsidy. We were supposed to cover this slide. If you remember, after MSP we have discussed idea of a public distribution system, correct? PDS. Public distribution system is nothing but PDS. Concept of PDS we have covered. And that is central government will allocate the food grains to the states, that is through Food Corporation of India, and the Food Corporation of India Food Corporation of India will allocate the food grains to the state. States will identify the beneficiaries and distribute the food grains amongst the beneficiaries. That is a basic concept of public distribution system. Okay. Then related to PDS, we have also discussed provisions of NFSA. Correct? Related to PDS, we also have discussed the provisions of National Food Security Act. What are the important provisions of NFSA? NFSA covers two-thirds of total India's population. Point number one. NFSA covers two-thirds of total India's population. Yes or no? And when I say two-thirds of total India's population, it is basically 2011 population. The last census. 2011 census population data has been used to identify and provide food grains to the beneficiaries. And under NFSA for the current financial year, I've told you this very clearly. In the current financial year, government is distributing food grains free of a cost. Government is distributing food grains free of cost, right? Absolutely no charges, free of a cost for the current financial year. Until last year, rice was distributed at 3 rupees per kg, right? Wheat was distributed at 2 rupees per kg, at 2 rupees per kg, and the coarse grains were distributed at 1 rupees per kg. But for the current financial year, Government of India stated we will not charge anything. 5 kgs of food grains free of a cost will be given to beneficiaries. 5 kgs of food grain free of a cost. Right. So apart from that, there is a grievance redressal mechanism. Right. We also have the concept of utilizing basically information technology to distribute the food grains in a much efficient way, etc. So these are certain points we have discussed. We are supposed to cover this slide. Let me start. We are supposed to start discussion on this slide. Let me start now. Whenever you talk about food subsidies incurred by the government annually, every year, government will allocate certain amount of money in the budget for distribution of food grains. Right? That is in the form of food subsidies. How do we calculate food subsidies? How do we calculate the food subsidies incurred by the government? Right? Follow the discussion very carefully. Let me start with a very simple example. Understand the example, then we'll come back to the previous slide. Can I say here is a Food Corporation of India, FCI. Here is a Food Corporation of India, and here is beneficiary. Here is the Food Corporation of India, and here is a beneficiary. Now, let's say you are the beneficiary, and I'm the Food Corporation of India. I want to provide, let's say, 5 kgs of food grains to you. So, what I'll have to do? Can I say step number one? Step number one will be to procure food grains. Yes or no? Step number one will be to procure food grains. All of you okay with this? Procure means purchase. Right. So when I procure the food grain, we will have to pay MSP to the farmer. And in addition to MSP, if there is any bonus announced by the state governments. Anybody has a problem with this? First step is what? Government has to procure food grains. And when government will procure food grains, it has to pay MSP, minimum support price. It also, if there is any bonus, the bonus has to be paid by the state government. Now, once the procurement is done, once they will purchase the food grain, does it mean that the food grains will reach beneficiaries? No, food grains have been purchased. Can I say after you purchase food grain, there will be many other operations such as baggaging, that is basically bagging food grains. Correct? Bagging means what? You cannot directly take the food grains in your hand and carry them, give it to the beneficiary. You'll have to put them in the gunny bag. And when you will package, bagging is nothing but packaging. Will you incur expenditure for this? Of course, yes. What about labor charges? What about labor charges? Will you not pay for labor? Right? Labor for moving the jute bags or gunny bags, right? Packaging, right? For all of that, you will have to pay labor charges. In addition to this, there is also mandi charge. There is also a mandi charge. Now, many of you ask me, sir, what do you mean by mandi? Today we'll discuss this. Please understand this. Mandi charge. What is this mandi charge? Whenever food grains are sold, whenever the food grains are sold like this, there is a market which has been established. There is a market. For example, they will call these markets as APMC market yards. In English, they will call this as APMC market yard. APMC stands for Agriculture Produce Market Committee. So there is a market which has been established. In English, they will call this as a market yard, or else in Hindi, they will call this as mandi. Right? Mandi. Mandi is nothing but market. Now, when they will provide a space for you for storage, warehousing, for conducting transactions, all of this, don't you think they will impose and collect a certain charges from you? Yes or no? Does it make sense to you? They will impose and collect a certain charges from you. I'll call this as mandi charges. Right? These put together, we generally call them as procurement incidentals. We'll call this as procurement incidentals. That is, whenever I purchase the food grains, along with the food grains, that is the money that I pay for the food grain, what are the other charges I will have to pay? I will have to pay for labor, I will have to pay for baggaging, I will have to pay mandi charges, etc. Now, this is step number one. Step number two, I will have to transport these food grains. Yes or no? I will have to transport the food grains now. To where? I will have to transport the food grains to warehouse. I'll have to transport the food grains to a storage facility, warehouse facility. So don't you think I will incur transportation cost for this? Correct? I will incur cost of transportation. Now, once I incur cost of transportation, I will also have to pay cost for storage facility, storage expenses, storage expenses. Now I will have to withdraw the food grains, transport it to the village, and basically distribute it for all the beneficiaries. Step number three, I will take the food grains from the warehouse, take it to the village, and distribute it to the beneficiaries. For that also I will incur expenses. That I'll call this as distribution expenses. Distribution expenses or distribution expenditure. So all of you okay with this? All of you okay with this? These procedures? First I will purchase, I will pay money. Then I will use labor, I will pay money. I will take the food grains to the storage capacity, I will incur expenditure. I will keep the food grains in the warehouse, I'll pay money for that also. Now I will distribute it, I'll take it to the village, transportation again, and again I'll distribute. There also I'll have to spend certain amount of money. So these are the various expenditures at various stages for procurement as well as a distribution of food grains. Now, follow this very carefully. What if all these expenses that I've written here, what if all these expenditures put together, follow this very carefully. What if all these expenditures put together, it will come 40 rupees per kg. All the expenses put together, it will become 40 rupees per kg. Which means, can I say, this is the expenditure incurred by the government, expenditure incurred by the government whenever they will procure plus distribute food grains. Yes or no? 40 rupees per kg, it is nothing but the expenditure incurred by the government whenever they will purchase the food grain and distribute the food grain. But please tell me, let me know. We have discussed this concept last week. Do you think all the food grains that is purchased by the government will be immediately distributed by the government? Think of it and do let me know. Do you think all the food grains that is purchased by the government, they will use it for distribution? No. Do you remember the concept of buffer stocks? Yes or no? Sir, where have you discussed all of these? Last week on Friday, I discussed a concept called as open market sale scheme. Open market sale scheme, where I said government will purchase and right, it will purchase more than what they actually require. In fact, if you remember the numbers, right, I would have again just a hypothetical number. If government requires 30 kgs, government will not purchase 30. They will purchase, let's say, 50 kgs. They will purchase 60 kgs. Why? Additional extra food grains, they will keep it for storage. They will simply keep it. Why? There might be an emergency. There might be an emergency in the future. They will use this extra food grain for distribution in the future. That is the basic reason Now, can I simply say this will be expenditure for right purchasing as well as a distribution? What if government is also purchasing some additional food grain and simply storing it? And what if that expenditure incurred by the government for purchasing and storing, not distributing, purchasing and storing will become, let's say, around 25 rupees per kg? So can I say overall expenditure incurred by the government in this example will be 65 rupees, right, for 2 kgs? Yes or no? All of you okay with this? Overall expenditure for 1 kg purchasing and distribution plus 1 kg purchasing and storage. Right, so can I say 60 rupees is the overall expenditure incurred by the government for purchasing, storage as well as expenditure. Now, point number 3. Listen very carefully. Point number 3. Imagine this is the overall expenditure incurred by the government, and if government will distribute the food grains at a 0 rupees, can I say this 65 rupees is nothing but food subsidy for the government? Let me know. I'll repeat the statement again. Listen very carefully. Government has purchased food grains. It has spent totally how much? 65 for transportation, for distribution, etc. etc. Now, government will give it, right? Out of this 1 kg, government will give it, but government will not collect anything from you. So, can I say overall food subsidy in this example will be 65 rupees? All of you okay? Right? Because government is not collecting anything from you, 0 rupees. I'll simply call this as food subsidy only. But what if government will give you 1 kg of food grain, but will collect 3 rupees from you? Think of it. What if government will give you 1 kg out of these 2 kgs and collect 3 rupees from you? In that case, can I say 65 rupees minus 3 rupee, because government has got the 3 rupee now, that will be 62 rupees will be the food subsidy. All of you okay with this? Anybody has a problem? In first case, I said government has given, but they have not collected any money from you. 0 rupee, which means all the expenditure will become food subsidy for the government. But on the other hand, second example, on the other hand, government will give you 1 kg. Out of 2 kgs, government will give you 1 kg and collect 3 rupees from you. They will give you the right 1 kg and ask you to pay 3 rupees, which means out of 65 rupees, government has collected 3 rupees back, and remaining amount, I'll call this as food subsidy. So all of you okay with this? Can we go forward? Right, so can I say this year, because government is not collecting anything from the beneficiaries, I repeat, this year, because the government is issuing the food grains free of a cost and is not collecting anything from the beneficiaries, whatever expenditure government will incur on the food grains for procurement, distribution, storage, transportation, etc., all of that put together is nothing but food subsidy bill. Correct? Because government is not collecting anything this year. Whatever expenditure government will incur for purchasing, storage, distribution, all of that put together is nothing but food subsidy. That is a concept. Please be very, very careful. Be very careful, because there is no issue price. There is no issue price this year. Issue price is 0 rupee, free of a cost, 0 rupee, which means all the expenditure incurred, no revenue generated, will basically become food subsidy bill. Okay. So point number 1, economic cost of food grains. What do you mean by economic cost of food grains? Economic cost basically is the total expenditure that is incurred by the government, that is through Food Corporation of India, for purchasing, procurement, storage and distribution. Procurement, storage as well as a distribution. Right, so it will consist of acquisition cost as well as distribution cost. How much is the cost associated with acquisition, including right incidentals plus distribution expenditures? Okay, so food subsidy on the food grains issued plus whatever expenditure is incurred by the government for maintaining buffer stock. That is what exactly I have told you here. Right? All of you okay with this calculation? How much is the food grain distributed here? 1 kg, on which government has incurred expenditure of 40. Earlier, government would collect the 3 rupees when they would distribute the food grain. But this year, they are not collecting anything. So 40 rupees plus 25 rupees, this will be the food subsidy bill that the government of India will be facing. Okay, right? So this is how food subsidies are calculated. Please have a look at it again. How much has been the food subsidy bill for government of India over a period of time? For 2021, food subsidy bill hit 529,000 crore rupees. 529,000 crore rupees. Some of you will keep on having this doubt. Why suddenly this has increased, etc., etc. 2020 point number one, all of you know, there was a COVID. Correct. There was pandemic. And during pandemic, sorry, during pandemic, what did government of India do? Government of India introduced a new initiative, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. All of you heard of this? Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, PMGKAY. Under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, Government of India would simply distribute food grains free of cost. Free of cost. 5 kgs of food grains free of a cost. Right? NFSA was there. Some of you will have this doubt. Listen carefully. NFSA was there. If I'm a beneficiary under NFSA, I will get 5 kgs as usual. But in addition to that particular 5 kgs, right, under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, I'll be given extra 5 kgs free of a cost. But last year, Government of India has right, basically announced that they will be withdrawing the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. They will not have anything regarding PMGKY. But for 1 year, under NFSA, National Food Security Act, Government of India would provide 5 kgs of food grain free of a cost. Right? So that is the precise reason why you will see there is a sudden spike. Right? So that is the precise reason you will see a sudden spike in 2021. Okay, done. Can we go forward? Can we go forward? Anybody has a problem? Procurement incidents. My dear, when you procure food grain, procure means purchase. When you procure food grain, government will not just procure, they will also spend the money to put the food grains in a bag. Correct? They will put the food grains in the bag. Who will do that? Who will do that? Will you do that? No. Will I do that? No. Labor will be there in the market. So the market labor will be used, money will be paid for them. There is a mandi. Mandi means market. Right? The two students were saying, what is this mandi? Mandi is nothing but market. Will you not go to a market to purchase vegetables? Apply the same logic, but in a wholesale situation where farmers will bring the crop, sell it to buyers such as traders, buyers such as food processing companies, Food Corporation of India, etc. So there is a market that is called as a mandi, and within mandi, warehousing infrastructure is there. Within mandi, the market, that is a mandi, will provide facilities for you to trade your food grains. So when the mandi will provide you all of this infrastructure, they will charge you some amount of money. They will impose charges. Right? For example, you tell me, my dear, if you use any app, right, let's say second sales, you have a car, you want to sell it to somebody else. Don't you think the app that you're going to use will impose certain charges on you? Yes or no? Have you heard of second sales, seconds, selling of seconds? So of course, yes, they will impose and collect certain charges from you. Apply the same logic to a market, and that is also going to be the same thing. Okay, done. Let me go to the next one. Certain very important current affairs. Okay, certain very important current affairs points I'll discuss. First one is one nation, one ration card. One nation, one ration card. Let me start with a simple example. Let me see how many of you remember what we have discussed. Under National Food Security Act, please tell me who will identify the beneficiaries. Is it the central government or the state government? Let me see how many of you remember what we have discussed. In case of NFSA, who will identify the beneficiaries? Central government or state government? As expected, lot of people are saying central government. My dear, revise. Revise. Why? Have you not seen this particular point being discussed last week only? Friday we have discussed state government will identify the beneficiaries. Right? Remember, you people keep on forgetting everything. Okay, now let me start. Imagine I live with my family. There are 5 members in the family. Okay, let's say start with an example. Imagine there are 5 members in the family. I am a migrant labor. Okay, I live in the state one. I'm a migrant labor. So what I'll do in search of a job. Don't ask me why are you searching for a job. Migrant labor. Understand first. In search of a job, what I will do is I will cross the state border, enter into the second state, and I will start working in the second state. I will start working in the second state. Now, please tell me, I am a beneficiary under NFSA. So, can I simply say I am a beneficiary as identified by the state government one? Correct? I'm a beneficiary, no doubt, but I have been identified as a beneficiary by the state government one. But after I've crossed the border, am I in the state one? No, I am in the second state. So look at the problem. Look at the problem. I'm a beneficiary under state one, but I am now present in the second state. So according to the second state, I'm not a beneficiary. So don't you think migrant labor will find it very difficult, or population which will move from one district to another district, one state to another state, will find it very difficult to get access to their subsidized food grains under NFSA? Correct? They'll find it very difficult because they might be beneficiaries in one state, but they have moved to another state. According to the second state, they are not beneficiaries. So, how do we address this situation? How do we overcome this kind of a situation? Very simple. Government now says we will introduce a system called as one nation, one ration card. One nation, one ration card. And in simple terms, okay, in simple terms, one nation, one ration card will provide you portability of ration card. Portability of ration card. I'm pretty sure all of you heard of the term portability. Yes or no? Portability. Portability of SIM. You are a customer of, let's say, Vodafone. Now you will port your services from Vodafone to JioPhone or Jio, right? From let's say Airtel to Jio. Portable means shifting. Portability means simply shifting. So now understand what will happen here. I'm a beneficiary and my Aadhaar credentials are already there. I have an Aadhaar number. So my Aadhaar, right, using my Aadhaar number, I'll be identified as a beneficiary under NFSA. How this is going to help? Let's start. Please look at this picture. I'm talking about this picture. Step number 1. In the state number 2, in the second state, I will go to a ration shop. I will go to a ration shop or a fair price shop, FPS. Now, in the fair price shop, they have a system for scanning my, let's say, retina or scanning my thumbprint. So, I'll go to this ration shop, provide my Aadhaar credential, that is a thumbprint. Now, right, once the reading is done, in the system, that is in the laptop or a computer that they have, it will pop up saying that, yes, Mr. XYZ is one of the beneficiaries under NFSA. Now, once the shopkeeper comes to know that I am a beneficiary under NFSA, the shopkeeper will give me 5 kgs of food grains. The shopkeeper will simply give me 5 kgs of food grains. So now all of you okay with this new system wherein whether I'm a beneficiary of state 1, state 2, state 3, state 4 doesn't matter. I can go to any part of the state, provide my Aadhaar credentials and prove that I'm a beneficiary and take my entitlement of 5 kgs. I can do this in any part of India. I can simply do this in any part of India. So is the logic okay? Why has the government of India implemented one nation, one ration card? Right? What is this one nation, one ration card system? Why they were calling this as a portability of rations, etc., etc. So these are certain important points regarding ONORC. Point number two, ONORC, this can also be asked by UPSC. Please remember, ONORC, the nodal agency, the agency for implementation of one nation, one ration card is the Department of Food and Public Distribution. Okay? Department of Food and Public Distribution. Department of Food and Public Distribution. Please remember the name. UPSC has the tendency of asking these kind of terms. Please be very careful. Okay. So this was launched in August 2019, just before the pandemic started taking effect. And as of today, all the states in India have implemented one nation, one ration card. Under one nation, one ration card, there are two very important systems which are used. Remember the names of the systems. One is called as IMPDS, Integrated Management of Public Distribution System. And the second one is Anna Vitaran Portal. One is IMPDS, second one is Anna Vitran Portal. What is the use of IMPDS? What is the use of Anna Vitran? Reason is very simple. Government wants to manage the distribution very efficiently. There should be effective distribution, efficient distribution of food grains. Now, please tell me, if you are the government, don't you want to find out of all the transactions that are taking place under NFSA, out of all the transactions, how many of the transactions are intrastate transactions? Does it make sense to you or not? How many of these transactions are intrastate, that is within one state? How many of the transactions are interstate transactions? Why? Many of you will ask me, why, sir? Why should I find out how many are intra, how many are inter? Reason is government has to plan accordingly for allocation of food grains. Government has to allocate the food grains accordingly for distribution of the food grains. Otherwise, you tell me, how will you decide how much food grain should go to state number one? Let me know. How will you decide how much food grains should go to state number one? How will you decide how much food grains should go to state number two? So don't you think there should be systems to keep a record, to keep a transaction record of how many intrastate, how many interstate? Yes or no? Arey Baba, some of you are confusing everything. Some of you are simply confusing everything. Sir, I will know the population of the state. My dear, you might know the population of the state, but do you think all the population that you have conducted a survey upon will remain in the same state? How? How will you plan then? Right? Imagine. Right? I'll give a very simple. Again, don't write all of this. And I'm not trying to demean anyone. Have you not seen lot of population from Northeast India moving to other parts of India in search of jobs? Have you not seen that? Have you not seen migrant labor from let's say some of the states in certain time period? For example, harvesting of sugarcane, moving to the states where sugarcane is harvested. Apply common sense, you will understand it. So in that case, what will you do? Will you tell the migrant labor, go back to your state and collect your 5 kgs in that state only? Right? So imagine to what extent you're going to create a burden for them. So that is the reason, right? We have implemented two systems here. One is Anna Vitran, second one is IMPDS. IMPDS will hold all the interstate transactions. IMPDS will hold all the interstate transactions, and Anna Vitran will hold all the intrastate transactions within the state and outside between the states. Right. So one is IMPDS, second one is Anna Vitran. Done. So this is one more very important current affairs. Next one more very important current affairs. Food grain ATMs. Food grain ATMs. Food grain ATMs. This is a new system which has been proposed. We have started implementing them in many of the states now. Listen carefully. What is this concept of a food grain ATM? Imagine I'm a shopkeeper. That is, I'm owning a fair price shop. You will come to me. Before you come to the shop, already 20 people are standing in a queue. 40 people are standing in a queue, or let's say 100 people are standing in a queue. So please tell the answer to this question. Will that create a problem for you or not? Problem in the sense, don't you think you'll have to wait in the queue for a very long duration? Point number one. Point number two, imagine the queue is over. You will come to the shop. You are the person now. You are the beneficiary. You will provide your thumbprint. I will say, yes, you are a beneficiary. I'm supposed to give you 5 kgs. Now, what if I cheat and I'll basically give you 4 kgs? Weighing machine is faulty. I will give you 4 kgs. Can this happen? Have you seen this in the movies or not? Right, the weights will be right manipulated, etc., etc. Yes, of course, there is a probability of cheating also. So the problem is that the shops are there, waiting time can become a problem, and underweighing of the food grains can also become a problem. What is the solution then? What is the solution? Now we have started introducing concept of food grain ATMs. What is done in food grain ATM? There is a machine here. Okay, there is a machine. Food grains are already there in the machine. Food grains are already there in the machine. Imagine there is a thumbprint scanner here. I will go provide my thumbprint, and the machine will read it and say, I am a beneficiary. And there is an outlet here. Okay, there's an outlet. I'll keep my bag here or box here. From this outlet, 5 kgs of food grains will be dispensed. 5 kgs of food grains will basically fall down. I will collect it in my bag and take it away. So now tell me again, it's basic similar concept to water ATMs. Have you seen water ATMs at multiple places? Correct or not? Water ATMs at multiple places, right? Put in 5 rupee coin and 20 liters will fall down. Right? I don't know whether you've seen or not. Water ATMs are very famous now. So is the logic okay for the food grain ATM? What is the logic? You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait, right? Because the machine is dispensing it. The waiting time will be very, very less here. And second, right, there is no scope of underweighing. Right? Because the machine is dispensing 5 kgs, there is no scope of underweighing or cheating the beneficiaries. So that is basically the concept of food grain ATMs. In many states, small villages, government is actually trying to implement it. Done? Right, so that is the concept of food grain ATM. One more type of a technology, which is being introduced by the government to address the issues related to food grain distribution, to make it much more efficient. So this is NFSA, right, ONORC, as well as the concept of food grain ATMs. Now let me go to the next concept. Agriculture credit. Agriculture credit to agriculture sector. Now whenever you talk about credit to agriculture sector, generally please remember there are these are divided into 2 types. One is called as a institutional or formal lending, formal institutions providing loans to agriculture, and second one is informal lending. Now, what is this formal lending as well as informal lending? Whenever there's a formal lending, right, for example, State Bank of India, SBI, State Bank of India will provide loan to a farmer. Punjab National Bank will provide a loan to a farmer. Regional rural banks will provide loans to farmers. Correct? Right. So when banks, that is institutions, will provide loans to the farmers, we'll call this as formal lending, formal loans, formal credit. On the other side, right, on the other side, informal loans. Informal loans are nothing but the loans which are given by friends and family. Loans which are given by money lenders in a rural part of India. These are called as informal loans or informal credit. As per RBI document, as per RBI document, even today, lot of the farmers in India are dependent upon informal sources itself. I'll repeat the statement. As per RBI document, even today, lot of the farmers are dependent on informal sources. Many of you will ask me, why, sir? Why the farmers take loan from informal sources? And the reason is very simple. Imagine you'll go to a bank, a farmer will go to the bank and apply for a loan. Please tell me, how many of you are under the impression that the moment the loan application is provided, loans will be given? Think of it. Do you think the bank manager is literally waiting with cash in hand? The moment he looks at the farmer, the loans will be given? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. Right? A certain time period will be required. And even if they accept the application, is there guarantee that the loan will be given? In the next 2 days, in the next 3 days, is there any guarantee that the loan is given? Again, no. Right? They might take more time period, but the farmer says, the monsoon is about to start. I need to purchase fertilizer as well as seeds. I need to sow the seeds and apply fertilizer so that the moment monsoon will take place, that is rainfall will happen, my seeds will start germinating, seeds will start growing. Right? So concerns are there. And even if the bank is willing to provide, what if the bank says, please give me a collateral, please give me a security so that I can give you loan? That also becomes a problem. So documentation, the delays, as well as a collateral requirement, there are so many reasons. There are so many reasons. And I'll tell you one more problem also. If a farmer has taken loans and if they try to take multiple loans from the bank, do you think the bank will promote that kind of a lending activity? I'll come to you. I've already taken a lot of loans. I want to apply for one more loan. Will you give me a loan as a bank? Right? You will tell, sir, already so many loans are there. Please repay those loans. Only then I'll give you more loans. Otherwise, you will take more loans. All of them will become NPA. Much bigger burden for me. So there are concerns. There are a lot of concerns, right? Because of all of this only, even today, lot of farmers in India end up taking loans from informal sources. And when they take a loan from informal sources, what is the problem? If they take a loan, what is the problem then? The problem is that rate of interest is very, very high. Rate of interest is very, very high. Right? How high? As per RBI survey, as per RBI document, the rate of interest charged from informal sources are in the range of 24% to 36%. Mind you, are in the range of 24% to 36%. Whereas if you take a loan from a bank, 7%, 9%, 4%, etc. So on one side, take a loan from a bank, rate of interest in a single digit number. You take a loan from right, a money lender, end up paying very, very high rate of interest. Very, very high rate of interest. And don't you think this is one of the reasons why there is a lot of debt in the agriculture sector? Yes or no? Please think of it. Don't you think this is one of the reasons why there's a very high debt in the agriculture sector? That is, basically you will take a loan, monsoon, you don't get proper rainfall. You do not get appropriate rainfall in the monsoon. You are heavily dependent on the monsoon. You take a loan, you have purchased fertilizer, you have sown the seeds, monsoon will come, right? Or let's say monsoon is very less, productivity is very less. Or right, your crop has grown, very good standing crop is there. Unseasonal rainfall will happen. Unseasonal rainfall. And when you have unseasonal rainfall, what will happen to production? Production will be destroyed again. So I hope you understand. So there are a lot of factors that will have a huge impact on your productivity as a farmer. Risk is very, very high. Risk is very, very high in agriculture sector. So you have taken a loan, you are not able to generate sufficient revenue to repay this loan. You will borrow one more. You will take one more loan. So you'll keep on taking loans, which will keep on getting added. Your debt will start increasing. Right? So I hope you understand. So based on the source, there is a institutional as well as a informal. And let's say based on the term, especially given by the institutions. Money lenders don't have all of this concept of a term, etc., etc. Money lenders will say, take it, but give me monthly 2%, give me monthly 3%. That is how money lenders will behave. But the banks, whenever they provide loans, based on the term, there will be short-term loan, medium-term loan, as well as long-term loan. Okay, there's a short-term, there's a medium-term, as well as long-term loan. Short-term, whenever the loans are provided for a duration of up to 15 months. Whenever the loans are given for a period up to 15 months, that is called as a short-term loan. Short-term loan. And whenever short-term loans are given or taken, they will be used for working capital requirements. All of you agree with me? They'll be used for working capital requirements, right? You do remember this financial market, right? The company will take, right, for short term duration. For what purpose? For working capital requirements. So apply the same logic for purchasing seeds, purchasing fertilizers, right, etc., etc. These are basically short term loans. After that, we have medium term loans at somewhere around 12 to 15 months plus, right, up to 5 years. Up to 5 years, 15 months to 5 years. Right. For what purposes? You want to purchase cattle. You want to dig up a well in your farm so that water can, right, so water can be stored, utilized for irrigation purposes, etc. That is a medium term loan. And then we have a long term loan, generally for creation of assets. For asset creation, they will give you long term loan that will have a duration of more than 5 years, above 5 years. For example, loans are given for purchasing tractors, loans are given for purchasing one more land, etc. For that kind of purposes, long term loans are provided. So all of you okay with the short term, medium term, and long term? Up to 15, 15 to 5, and above 5. That is basically the concept of the type of loans which are issued by institutions, right? Institutions. Now, what kind of reforms have been implemented? Many of you will say, sir, you have not discussed issues. I've told you already. Multiple loans taken, banks do not want to have higher exposure, right? Collateral is not there, right? The time taken, paperwork, etc. All these are the problems associated with getting access to institutional credit. Now, what kind of reforms have been undertaken by the government as well as RBI to promote agriculture credit? First one is a PSL, priority sector lending. Let me know. Under PSL, are we covering agriculture sector? Let me know. Under PSL, are we covering agriculture sector? Right? Do you remember? Agriculture sector is there, MSME is there, etc., etc. Some of you are saying no. Great. Please go back, revise. Go back to banking, open the chapter of banking. There is one slide on PSL. Have a look at it. Agriculture sector is in fact covered under PSL. There have been promotion of different types of banks. For example, cooperative banking promoted by government now. What about RRBs, regional rural banks? PSL is 75%. What about small finance banks? PSL is 75%. So are we not targeting agriculture sector by promoting cooperative banking, by promoting RRBs, by promoting, right, even small finance banks? Of course, yes. Target is right, agriculture sector. And the third reform is Kisan Credit Card. Kisan Credit Card. Now, before I go to Kisan Credit Card, I want to write one more very important reform here. Loan waiver. Have you heard of this? Loan waiver. Now, why I'm discussing loan waiver, right? It's basically around election season, correct? It's around election season. Now, a lot of state governments, right? There might be a demand for loan waiver at multiple states. There will be a demand for loan waiver. What do you mean by loan waiver? Please understand this. Earlier also it has been done, but very recently no state government has announced it. The loan waiver as a concept simply means, imagine a farmer is there. Farmer will take loan from a bank. Farmer will take a loan from a bank. Now, if I am a farmer, if I take a loan from you, I will have to repay the money to you. All of you agree? I will have to repay. But in this case, what government says is the farmer doesn't have to repay. The farmer doesn't have to repay. The loan will be repaid by the government. The loan will be repaid by the government. This concept is called as a loan waiver. The concept is called as loan waiver. Please be very careful. Loan waiver. Loan waiver means what? Farmer will not repay the loan. But it doesn't mean that bank will not get money. I hope you understand. I will not repay to you. That doesn't mean that you will not get money. You will not get money from me. Instead, government will give you that money. This concept is called as a loan waiver. Is the logic okay? Why governments announce it? Again, let me not make it political. You also don't make it in economics. Stick to economics only. Government generally says farmers are suffering because of a drought. Farmers are suffering because of a crash in prices, etc., etc. There could be drought, there could be floods, there could be multiple reasons. For example, please tell me, if a farmer, any farmer has cultivated tomato today, brings the tomato to the market, do you think the farmer is going to earn sufficient amount of revenues? Let me see how many of you are actually going to the market to purchase vegetables. Do you think farmer is going to earn huge amount of revenue today if they are going to cultivate and sell tomatoes or tomatoes? Absolutely no. Today, if you have checked the market prices, if you have been reading newspapers, you will come to know now if a farmer has cultivated onion, they will make a huge amount of gains. Check the market prices. Check the market prices. The onion prices have shot in the last 2 to 3 days by more than 20 to 30 rupees. In the last 2 to 3 days, the onion prices have shot up by more than 20 to 30 rupees. Today in the market, onion prices are somewhere around 70 rupees per kg. Again, don't fight with me. Don't say in my village, in my city, it is 66. How can you say 70 rupees? Around 70 rupees. And in the next 1 week, I'm pretty sure it will hit 80, 90, or even 100. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. That generally happens. Okay, right. So I hope you understand. The government will give multiple arguments to provide a relief to the farmers, saying that the farmers are under pressure now. They will not be able to repay the loan. Hence, I will repay the loan. That is the concept of a loan waiver. But you think of it and do let me know, is it going to provide a long-term relief to the farmers? Think logically always. Do you think this kind of a relief will provide long-term relief to the farmers? First and foremost, is it going to cover all the farmers? That's a point. Is it going to cover all the farmers? No. Lot of farmers will take loans from money lenders. I hope you understand. Lot of these farmers will take loans from money lenders. Are you providing relief to those kind of farmers? Absolutely no. And this is a very short term relief, right? I may not be able to repay the loan today, so government will repay it, agreed. But don't you think the same situation might incur even after 6 months? I might come under the pressure again after 1 year. So it's not a long term solution. It's not a long term solution. For example, they will use these kind of statements. Don't be surprised. It is just a band-aid. What is required is a surgery. Does the statement make sense to you? I'll repeat it again. It is just a band-aid, but what is required is a surgery. Right? Structural reform should be implemented. It's just a short-term solution. That is a meaning. That is the meaning. Okay. Okay. Let me go to one more reform. Kisan Credit Card. KCC, Kisan Credit Card. Now, what is this concept of a Kisan Credit Card? Earlier, we have found that farmers do not have a lot of times collateral. Farmers are worried about paperwork. Farmers find it very difficult to get access to institutional loans, etc. To address these kind of problems, government has introduced an initiative by the name of Kisan Credit Card, KCC. Under the Kisan Credit Card, we are going to cover farmers who are engaged in cultivation, animal husbandry, as well as fisheries. Farmers who are engaged in cultivation, animal husbandry, as well as fisheries. In fact, please understand, even if you're a tenant farmer, you'll be covered under the concept of Kisan Credit Card. In fact, the moment I use the term tenant farmer, I believe today's economic times, Economic Times has one article. I'll give you at the end of the week. Don't worry. There is one article which discusses why tenant farmers are finding it very difficult to get. I believe either Economic Times or Business Line. One or the other. They have an article. What is the problem with many schemes of the government of India as well as tenant farmers? Schemes of government of India and tenant farmers. I hope you understand meaning of the tenant farmer. Tenant farmer means the one who will produce a food grain on a land which is not owned by the farmer. Is it okay? The one who is going to cultivate on a piece of land not owned by him, but right by somebody else. Right, today in one or the other newspaper, I'm unable to recollect the name of the newspaper, but definitely yes, it was there. You should read that. I'll give you at the end of the week. You should read it. And by the way, how many of you read the article about Indian Railways? Hindu newspaper. So which newspaper are you talking about? Indian Railways in Hindu newspaper. Did you come across the term cross subsidization in that article? Let me see. Did you come across? Again, I know you might have not understood the term operating ratio, right? In fact, when I take up railways, I'll tell you. Don't worry. But at least the term cross subsidization should be okay with all of you, right? That is, railways will generate revenues from the freight, will also generate revenues, right? Revenues from customers, that is passengers, by providing right the ticket prices at a very low rate, right? It is basically eating away the revenue that we are generating from freight. Overall, we are incurring losses. Yes or no? In fact, I'd use the concept of cross subsidization in electricity. Correct. Last week I'd used the concept of cross subsidization in electricity. I told cross subsidization means what? Same service to different consumers but at different prices. Right? Apply the same logic. Railway transportation to different consumers at different prices. But the amount of right under recoveries, the amount of revenue that we are foregoing is so high, despite higher revenue earning from freight, it is not sufficient. And that is a very important article, by the way. Not all the technical arguments, but operating ratio, cross subsidization, right? What should be done for right freight transportation, etc. 3 or 4 points, very nice points. Read that article. Okay. Anyways, come back to this. Kisan credit card. Kisan credit card is basically a facility which has been provided by the government through Reserve Bank of India, which is being implemented by multiple banks now, under which multiple types of loans are provided. Loans are provided in simple terms. Loans are provided for different farmers under this. You might be a farmer who is involved in cultivation of the crop. You might be a farmer who is involved in, right, let's say rearing of the sheeps. You might be a farmer who is involved in the fisheries. So different types of farmers will get access to institutional credit. That's very important. Institutional credit under the concept of Kisan credit card. What is the objective? It will be providing loans to take care of post harvest expenses. Now, before you start asking me what is post harvest, please tell me, do you understand the term harvest? Yes or no? Do you understand the term harvest? Right? What is the meaning of harvesting? Cutting. Harvesting is nothing but cutting. Now, once you cut the crops, are there multiple operations or activities that you do? For example, once you cut the crop, you will have to package, correct? You will have to transport, you will have to warehouse. These are called as post harvesting expenses, post harvest expenses, right? So for taking care of post harvest, for taking care of marketing expenses, marketing means you want to take the crop to a mandi, you want to take it to a APMC yard, you want to get a soil, I'm sorry, you want to get a crop tested, right? You want to basically transport to a mandi, etc. All these are called as marketing expenses. For that also you can take a loan. For taking care of household expenses, to take care of household expenses, consumption requirement, also you can take a loan. Working capital for farming assets, right, such as irrigation, such as tractors, etc., etc. Investment requirement as well as marketing expenses. Okay, so these are the right various objectives under which For what purposes you can take loan under the Kisan credit card? Now, some of you are asking, sir, what is the limit? My dear, you please tell me. You please tell me. Do you think from one farmer to another farmer, the loan given will be same? What if the farmer has land owned by the same farmer? What if the farmer doesn't have a land? So I hope you understand the logic. Multiple types of beneficiaries are under there, right? Multiple types of beneficiaries are there. You don't by heart all the limits. It is of no use to you. Okay. But loans provided under KCC are eligible for interest subvention. What do you mean by interest subvention? Imagine you're a bank. I've taken the loan. Let's say you will charge 7% rate of interest. Part of this 7%, let's say 3% will be given by the government. Hence, I will pay only 4% rate of interest. All of you okay with this? All of you okay with this? I'll repeat it again. Imagine you're a bank. I've taken a loan. You will charge a 7% rate of interest to me. Rather than paying full 7% rate of interest, government will pay, let's say, 3% rate of interest to you, which means I don't have to pay 7%. I have to pay only 4% rate of interest. This is called as a interest subvention. This is the concept of interest subvention. Okay. So loans provided under KCC are eligible for interest subvention. And loans under this, up to certain limit, you do not have to even provide collateral. You can take loans even without providing collateral. Apart from this, the Kisan credit card is available at all the Indian banks, regional rural banks, and cooperative banks. Right? So these are certain very important features regarding the concept of Kisan credit card. Done? So we have discussed agriculture credit. What are the issues? What are the sources? Right? What kind of reforms have been implemented by the government? Let me go to the next concept. Next one is warehousing. Next one is warehousing. Right now, what is the idea of a warehousing? Warehousing is nothing but storage. Warehousing is nothing but storage of food grains. Now, many of you will ask me, sir, what is the use of this warehousing? Why do we have to go for warehousing? Point number one, if all of us are farmers, if we will cultivate the crops today, we will harvest the crops, take all the crops to the market. Please tell me what will happen to prices today. Can I say prices will crash? That will be the first point. Second point, if everybody will take the crop today itself, who will take the crop after 1 month? Right? Who will take the crops after 1.5 months? Because I hope you understand, at least by now, you cannot cultivate rice and harvest rice every month. All of you will agree? It's not like onion, it's not like tomato that you can cultivate every month and keep on harvesting every month. Absolutely no. It will take months together. The cycle is there. It will take months together for us to sow, harvest, and then introduce in the market. So first point is simple. If all the production that is done is taken to the market, market prices will come down. Market prices will crash. Farmers' earnings will suffer. Point number one. Point number two, if there is no storage done, everything is introduced right now in the market, then who will supply food grains after 1.5 months? Who will supply it after 2 months? After 1 month, there is no supply. So after 1 month, you don't want to purchase rice. After 1.5 months, you don't want to purchase wheat. Of course, yes, you want the supply to be there. So supply should also be maintained. That's the second reason. Third reason, whenever you go for warehousing, can I say wastages will come down? Think of it. Whenever you go for warehousing, wastages will come down. What do you mean by wastage? If you talk about, let's say, a product such as agriculture product such as onion, tell me, you want to store it? Yes or no? What about even cereals such as, let's say, wheat? Can you simply store the wheat in the open air? How many of you think that can be done? Can you simply store wheat in the open air? What if there is a rainfall? Don't you think moisture, right? Moist. If the moisture increases, there can be growth of fungus in the wheat. Correct? Right? Science and technology. What about pest attack? If there is a continuous sunlight, continuously exposed to sunlight, don't you think The quality of the food grains will be lost. So I hope you understand the logic behind all of it. You want to go for warehousing so that wastages will come down. Wastages also has to be reduced. And the fourth one, whenever government wants to distribute food grains, right, they will have to purchase and store food grains. For that purpose also you require warehousing. So these are some of the reasons why there is a requirement of warehousing infrastructure or storage infrastructure. Now, who will provide this storage infrastructure? We have central government agencies which will provide warehousing capacity. For example, Food Corporation of India, FCI, has a huge amount of warehousing capacity. There is a central warehousing corporation that is also involved in the warehousing. State agencies are there. State agencies such as a State Warehousing Corporation. Private sector agencies are there. So the warehousing facilities are provided by the central government, state government, as well as private sector. Private sector. For example, many of you ask me, so any private sector company which will provide warehousing. Have you heard of ITC company? Let me know. Have you heard of ITC company? ITC, by the way, is India Tobacco Company. ITC was initially involved in tobacco products, but they have migrated more into other types of products now. ITC is also involved in agriculture sector now, provides lot of warehousing capacity. Okay, lot of warehousing capacity is done by them. So argument is simple here. We have a right central government, state government, as well as private sector, which will provide warehousing capacity. Now, come to the problem side. Come to the issues associated with the idea of warehousing. Right? What are the issues associated with that? First one, even though we have a center, state, as well as private sector providing warehousing capacity, we do not have sufficient capacity in India. That's a fact. Please remember this. The fact is, we do not have sufficient warehousing capacity in India. Let me prove it. Do not by heart it. Please do not by heart it. Just look at the table, you will realize it. Storage capacity with the Food Corporation of India and the state agencies. How much capacity is available? Have a look at the data. And how much is the food grain production? Have a look at the data. Now, all of you will agree, if you look at the data, all of you will agree that there's a huge shortage for storage capacity in India. Anybody has a problem? Even if you put together the private sector, some of will say the private sector data is not there. Put together private sector, even then, we will not have sufficient capacity for storage for food grain production in India. So point is very simple here. We do not have sufficient capacity. Please remember that particular point. Point number two, storage that is done by Food Corporation of India is mainly centered around right the cereals. It is mainly centered around rice, wheat. Now, very recently, we have started procuring and storing pulses also. But don't you think from day to day, right? If you look at the market, right, very cautiously in India, agriculture market, we should store other commodities as well. Yes or no? Rather than focusing only on the rice, wheat, and pulses, we should also have sufficient storage capacity for other commodities as well. For example, what about oil seeds? Right? If you think of oil seeds, how oil seeds are important, my dear. All of you heard of edible oils? All of you heard of edible oils? That is the oil that you are consuming in your kitchen for cooking purposes. Edible oils, vegetable oil. Most of this edible oil or vegetable oil we import from rest of the world. We import from rest of the world. And if countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, etc. start imposing export restrictions, suddenly in India, the market prices will start increasing very fast. I hope you understand the logic. I'll try to repeat it again. Because we are import dependent, if their countries there's a shortage, they are concerned about shortage in their countries. If they put restriction on the export of these edible oils, suddenly in India the prices will start increasing, not by a small amount, very very huge amount. In fact, that actually happened in the last 1 year, but recently, because the imports have started coming easily, government has reduced the taxation on the import of these edible oils. Prices have become softer now. prices have become lower. Done? All of you are agreeing with me? So argument is simple. We always target procurement around cereals. And government says we target cereals because I require cereals, I require rice, I require paddy, etc. And that is the reason I target the cereals. But we need to go beyond these and start storing many other crops in the market. Okay, done. Next one is location disadvantages. Location disadvantages. Argument is very simple. These warehousing capacities are not present, right, in many places where the farmers actually require warehousing capacities, right? The farmers have cultivated, they want to store, but the warehouses are very far. Warehouses are after certain amount of distance. Farmers find it very difficult to transport food grains after cultivation to the warehouse. So location also matters. Location disadvantages are there. Okay. Lack of knowledge amongst the farmers. All the farmers do not understand what is the importance of going for scientific warehousing. Why do we need to protect, right, the food grains from the direct exposure to sunlight? Why do we need to protect it from rains? Why do we need to go for right protection from rats, pests, etc.? So the information amongst the farmers, even if they know that, they do not know how to right go by a near facility, what kind of paperwork is there, what are the charges. This kind of information availability to the farmers is very limited, very limited. Okay. Finally, lack of credit accessibility on the produce stored. Lack of credit accessibility on the produce stored. What do you mean by lack of credit accessibility? If a farmer will produce the food grain, put it in a warehouse, don't you think it means farmer will not be able to sell and earn money? Think of it, opportunity cost. I'm simply talking about opportunity cost. If I'm a farmer, I've cultivated crops, I will take all these crops, put it in a warehouse, I will wait for 1 month so that the prices will start increasing, which means for the next 1 month I will not have any money in my hand. So what will I do? And on the other hand, if I'm worried about the money and I sell the crops in the market today, prices are very low. So credit accessibility should also be provided. In fact, I'll add a reform here. Please listen very carefully. To address the issue of lack of credit accessibility, government has introduced a system called as negotiable warehouse receipt system. Negotiable warehouse receipt system. Very, very famous now. Negotiable warehouse receipt system. Now, what is this negotiable warehouse receipt system? Let me explain it. Listen, listen. NWRS, negotiable warehouse receipt system. Let's say you are a warehouse. Okay, you are a warehouse. I'm a farmer. I've cultivated, right? Let's say wheat. Market prices are very low. If I take it to the market, I will earn very less. But on the other hand, if I store it, if I warehouse it, I will not have any money. So what can I do now? This is the process. The farmer will go to a warehouse, will take the crop, go to the warehouse and submit the crops. Submit the crops, deposit the crop. Now please tell me, if a warehouse will collect the crops like this for storage purposes, warehouse has to issue a piece of paper. All of you agree? Warehouse has to issue a document, piece of paper, right, to the farmer. Now the warehouse will issue, let's say, this piece of paper. Your friend is back. Let's say the warehouse will issue this piece of paper to you. This is nothing but warehouse receipt. Any problem here? This is nothing but a warehouse receipt. And in the warehouse receipt, all the information is provided. What is right the crop stored, what is the quantity, etc., etc. All the information is there in the receipt. Now the farmer will take the receipt, approach a bank. Farmer will take the receipt, approach the bank. I will write step number 1, 2 so that you follow the sequence. Step number 1 is submitting the crop. Warehouse receipt is step number 2. Step number 3 is farmer approaching a bank, show the receipt, and step number 4 is take a short-term loan from the bank. Take a short-term loan from the bank. Now, this is basically how warehouse receipt system will help the farmers to store the food grain and also get access to credit on the stored food grain. Now, what is the next process? What is the next process? Why this is called as a negotiable instrument? Negotiable because, please understand now, let's say hypothetically, you will come to me, right? Or let's say somebody else will come to me. They want to purchase food grains from me, but they want to keep the food grains in storage. They do not want to receive food grains directly. So what I will do is, without withdrawing the food grains, I will take this warehouse receipt. The farmer will sell the warehouse receipt to a buyer. The farmer will sell the warehouse receipt to the buyer, let's say after 1 month, 1.5 months, etc. That is a step number 5. And right, the farmer will earn money. Farmer will earn money from the buyer. Now, whenever the buyer wants to withdraw the food grains, the buyer will take the warehouse receipt, go to the warehouse, submit the receipt, and withdraw the food grains. Withdraw the food grains. All of you okay with this system? Anybody has a problem? Withdraw the food grains. So look at the system now. Look at the system. Farmer will get access to institutional credit. Yes or no? Farmer will get access to institutional credit. Point number 2, is farmer selling the crop when the prices are low? No. Farmer is not selling, farmer is storing. Right? Farmer is storing. They are also getting loans. And when the prices will start increasing, if the farmer wants to sell, he doesn't have to literally take out the food grains. They will basically sell it, get the money, and give the certificate to the buyer. Buyer will take the certificate to the warehouse, submit, and right, withdraw the food grains. That is basically the concept how negotiable warehouse receipt system will work. This is exactly how negotiable warehouse receipt system will work. Can we go forward now? Can we go forward? Under NWRS, will the farmer pay interest? Of course, yes, my dear. It's a loan. They will have to pay interest. In fact, under PSL itself, lot of NWRS loans are issued by the bank. They will have to pay interest. There is no other option. If loan is given, the interest will be there. Okay, right. So this is one more very important reform regarding the concept of negotiable warehouse receipt. It is being implemented now. Please be very careful. Please be very careful. And some of you will basically tell me, sir, what if I lose the receipt? I know some will have this doubt. You showed me this particular, right? You showed me this particular paper, right? What if I lose the receipt, etc., etc. Please remember this. It is electronic NWRS now. RBI has mandated that it has to be electronic NWRS. All of you understand the term electronic NWRS? Yes or no? Electronic NWRS means what? Digital certificates are issued. Gone are the days when physical certificates were issued. It is always digital certificates now. Electronic NWRS. Okay. So next, Shanta Kumar Committee. Shanta Kumar Committee is associated with the Food Corporation of India, FCI. Food Corporation of India, right? Shanta Kumar Committee is associated with the Food Corporation of India. Now let me explain the Shanta Kumar Committee here. Important recommendations. Let's go point by point. First one, there are certain states which have already set up infrastructure, developed infrastructure, using which the state government will procure, state government will distribute. I'll repeat the statement here. I'll repeat it. Listen to me very carefully. There are multiple state governments who have already set up infrastructure using which they will procure the food grain and they will distribute the food grain. And is it allowed? Of course, yes. Many of you will basically say, but sir, earlier you said the FCI will procure food grains. Please understand this carefully. FCIs, FCIs can procure and give it to the states. That is allowed. Or else state governments will procure and distribute, money will be given to the state governments. All of you okay with this? Anybody has a problem? I'll repeat it. FCI. FCI will procure, give it to the states and allow them to distribute. Or else, FCI will not do that. State government itself will procure and distribute the food grain, and for that, center will pay money to the states. Now, why this is required? What is the use of it? Understand this carefully. This is actually promoted by the central government because from one state to another state, don't you think the best suited authority to find out what should be procured is the respective state government? Let me know. Right? Don't you think rather than central government, it is the state government. It is the state government which is in a better position to find out what is needed under NFSA for that state. That is a precise reason center says state itself can procure and distribute. I will pay money, don't worry. Right? Money will be given by the central government. Right? So come back to the discussion here. Imagine there is a state government. Okay, the state government, the state governments basically will procure food grains and distribute, and for that they have developed infrastructure. This committee says if the state government is procuring, what is the role of FCI? What is the role of Food Corporation of India? If the state government is procuring as well as distributing, role of FCI is redundant, right? FCI doesn't have any role there. Look at the first recommendation. All of you okay with this? Look at the first recommendation. If the state government is involved in the procurement as well as distribution, and for that infrastructure is already there, right? FCI should withdraw from the state, allow the state government to do that. Second one, there must be rationality and uniformity in procurement, right? For example, imagine the central government has huge quantity of parboiled rice. Just because the farmer has cultivated, should central government keep on procuring parboiled rice? Let me know. Will all of you agree with me? Just because the farmers are cultivating parboiled rice, should center keep on procuring parboiled rice? No. Right? Don't you think according to the requirements, according to the stock requirements, according to the distribution requirements, there should be certain standards set up. There should be rationality in the procurement operations are done by the government? Of course, yes. That is the recommendation. Third one, center should not accept additional or surplus food grains from the states announcing bonus or MSP. Slightly technical, please listen very carefully. Slightly technical. What is the recommendation? Center should not accept additional or surplus food grains from the state announcing bonus or MSP. What do you mean by this? Let's start. Imagine there is a state 1 and a state 2. And for wheat, I'll take a simple example, wheat. For wheat, government will announce MSP of 1000 rupees. For wheat, government will announce MSP of 1000 rupees. But the state government one, the state one will announce bonus. State 2 will not announce, state 1 will announce bonus of let's say 400 rupees. Which means a farmer in state 1, if they cultivate wheat, they will get 1400 rupees. A simple question to all of you. Because of this, don't you think cultivation of wheat in the state 1 will be very high compared to state 2? Yes or no? Because of this, cultivation of wheat in the state 1 will start increasing because the farmers want to sell more, earn more. Right? So, because the bonus is announced, cultivation will be very high. And if the cultivation is very high, can I say S1 will become a surplus state? Correct? Because the cultivation is much higher, S1 will become surplus state. And right, where do you think FCI will procure more, right, between S1 or S2? Right, the FCI will center its procurement operations in the state 1 itself. It will center its operations. It will focus more on procuring food grains in the state 1. Now think of next point also. Think of next point as well. If FCI will start procuring more and more in the state 1, what will happen to the supply to the market? Tell me, if FCI will start procuring more and more from the state one, what will happen to the supply to the market? Supply to the market will be affected. And as a result of this, don't you think in the market, other buyers, because of lower supply, might end up paying more money, which might cause inflation? All of you will agree? Because the FCI will procure more, supply to the market will be affected. And when supply to the market will get affected, others also want to purchase. Because of lower supply, now they will have to pay more money. Prices will get affected. Right? So that is the reason. Have a look at the recommendation here. Center should not accept more food grains, additional food grains, if the state will announce a bonus in addition to MSP announced by the central government. Okay. Next one is encourage NWRS. All of you will agree with me. It should be encouraged or not. Encourage more and more usage of negotiable warehouse receipt system. Negotiable warehouse receipt system. Encourage it. Next one, reduce coverage under NFSA from 67% to 40%. Right now, we are covering 67% of the population. 67% of the population under NFSA, subsidy burden is very high. All the population doesn't require this kind of assistance. Reduce the coverage to 40%. Reduce the coverage to 40% of the total population. Not yet implemented, don't worry. This has not been done by the government. Prioritize pulses as well as oil seeds and their MSP. You announce MSP for 23 crops, but you mainly procure rice and wheat. You're announcing MSP for more than 20, but your procurement is centered only about paddy as well as wheat. What about other crops? If you're not going to procure it, why are you announcing MSP? And don't you think price of pulses are fluctuating a lot? Don't you think price of vegetable oils, oil seeds are fluctuating a lot? So prioritize what should be a procurement. Prioritize the procurement of pulses as well as oil seeds. In fact, please understand, this is a recommendation. Government procures pulses now. I'll repeat it. Government agencies are procuring pulses. Government purchases pulses, and if there's a problem with the market supply, etc., government will issue these pulses in the market. This is being done by the government now. Please remember it. 6 months advanced food grains should be issued so that the cost of storage will come down. Let me ask you a very simple question. Very simple question. Imagine you are purchasing food grains and you're storing food grains, and month wise you are giving me 5 kgs each. Now please tell me, if you're purchasing, storing, and out of that every month if you give me 5 kgs, don't you think the storage cost for you is very high? Yes or no? Think logically, always think logically. Some of you are saying no. Why? Why, my dear? Imagine, I'll take a simple example. Imagine you have to give me 5 kgs in December. In December, we are at the fag end of October, by the way. Imagine you'll have to give me 5 kgs in the month of December. You will not purchase in December. You would have already purchased, let's say, in the month of August. You have purchased, stored, right, in the month of August. From that, in December, you will issue 5 kgs. In November, you will issue 5 kgs. In October, you will issue 5 kgs. So to issue 5 kgs every month, you have purchased and stored, will that not increase cost of warehousing for you? Rather than this, what if you purchase in August, and for 6 months, instead of issuing 5 kgs every month, you will issue 30 kgs after you procure to me. Is it well? Repeat it again. Imagine you're procuring in August and every month you will give me 5 kgs. Rather than this, you will procure in August, and in the month of August, rather than giving 5 kgs every month for the next 6 months, you will give me 30 kgs in the month of August itself. So please tell me, if you do that, don't you think the burden of storage for you will come down? Yes or no? The burden of storing food grains will come down. The burden of cost of transportation on you will come down. That is exactly the recommendation. That is exactly the recommendation. So you procure it rather than storing and giving 5 kgs every month, give 6 months of food grain in one shot. Simply give it in one shot, 30 kgs, so that every month you do not have to transport. Every month you do not have to incur expenditure. That is the recommendation. Next one, go for end-to-end computerization. We are doing it now. From the point of procurement to the point of distribution, make everything computerized so that there is no leakage in the system, so that there is no right, diversion of food grains, etc. And finally, instead of providing subsidized food grains, I repeat, instead of providing subsidized food grains, why don't we provide cash subsidy? Why don't we provide cash subsidy? What do you mean by this? Let's say, I'll take a simple example. Let's say right now, government will spend a subsidy of 40 rupees to give 1 kg of rice to me. Is it okay? Imagine government will spend 40 rupees to provide 1 kg of rice to me. But rather than providing 40 rupees worth of rice, why not give me a cash of 40 rupees? Why not simply provide a subsidy of 40 rupees to me? Cash subsidy. Why not subsidizing directly 40 rupees like this? What is the advantage? Think of it. This month, I don't want to purchase rice. I want edible oil. That is vegetable oil, cooking oil. I don't want rice because consumption is not so much. I want, right, let's say other protein sources. I want something else. But all of that is not covered under NFSA, which means the choices are not there. Choices are not there, right? They will give you 5 kg of rice, take it and go. They will give you 5 kg of wheat, simply take it and go. But what if you don't want wheat? You want, let's say you want to purchase pulses. You do not want rice, you want something else. But that kind of choice is not available to you. So instead of giving you 40 rupees worth of, let's say, 1 kg rice, what if I give you 40 rupees? Can that provide a choice for you? Can you use it to purchase other types of agriculture commodities on the market? Of course, yes. So, can we use cash transfers in the public distribution system? Can we use that? This will provide certain choices, options for the beneficiaries. That is basically the recommendation here. Are we trying it out? Yes. In some of the union territories. All of you know there is a union territory by the name of Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Let me know. Right? There is a union territory by the name of Dadra and Nagar Haveli. We are trying out cash transfers in PDS in many of the UTs, including Dadra and Nagar Haveli. So we are trying it out, but there's a problem. Definitely, yes, there are problems. Right? Uh, for example, I'll give you 40 rupees. What is the guarantee that you will use it to purchase food grain only? Correct. Right? What is a guarantee that you will use it to purchase only food grains? There is no guarantee. Absolutely no guarantee. Right? Absolutely no guarantee there. Second, 40 rupees, right, for food grains, purchasing food grains, will it be adjusted annually by inflation? Are you going to adjust it? Right, etc., etc. So again, lot of concerns are there. In fact, I'll tell you one more concern. Some of the states such as Punjab and Haryana do not want cash transfers. They do not want cash transfers. Why? I'll tell you. In case of Punjab and Haryana, especially state of Punjab, the state government they have created lot of infrastructure under APMC. Remember this. This is a point, by the way. State governments create APMC infrastructure, and the state government, by creating APMC infrastructure, it is a surplus state also. Don't you think it is in a position to impose and collect a lot of mandi charges? Think of it. It is right. It is a surplus state. It has a huge amount of APMC, right? The infrastructure created because the procurement is so high in the state. Right? Don't you think the state government of Punjab is in a position to impose and collect huge amount of Mandi charges, of course, yes. But instead of imagine, FCI says instead of procuring, I will transfer 50 rupees into the bank account of the beneficiary, then automatically procurement will come down. Correct? Procurement will come down. And if the procurement will come down, the mandi charges which are collected by the state government will also come down. Right? So I hope you understand. A lot of concerns have been raised regarding this kind of a initiative, Government of India. Right, so these are some of the recommendations which have been provided by Shanta Kumar committee. Some of them, yes, some of them have not been implemented by the government. Done. Can use e-rupee. Government has not yet tried e-rupee in the context of the cash transfer. In fact, the surveys which were conducted by the government in case of UTs have not been encouraging. Cash transfer in UTs has not been encouraging at all. Okay, done. So next concept I want to discuss is the model of APMC. Many of you are asking what is this APMC? APMC, we'll discuss it now. What is the concept of an APMC? APMC stands for Agriculture Produce Market Committee. Agriculture Produce Market Committee. Short form is APMC. Expansion of this is Agriculture Produce Market Committee. Now, what is this Agriculture Produce Market Committee? Point number one, agriculture marketing comes under the state government. All of you know this or not? Agriculture marketing comes under the state government. State government will identify crops and will mandate that these crops will have to be brought to a particular market, that is a mandi, for selling purposes. Very simple logic. What is APMC? The state government will identify the crops. The first sale of the crop, first sale means from the farmer, the first sale of the crop has to happen in a market, and that market is called as a mandi or yard. They will also call this as a market, yard or mandi. Which means from one state to another state, all of you will agree, from one state to another state, these laws will keep on changing. Please participate. From one state to another state, these laws will keep on changing. And there is no compulsion. There is no compulsion that all the states in India should have APMC also. For example, Bihar does not have any APMC. They implemented the APMC law, but later realized the model was not working and the government withdrew it. The state of Kerala does not have any APMC law. So remember this, agriculture marketing falls under right the state government. So state government should frame the laws. The central government will not frame the laws. Central government will not frame the laws regarding this. Done. What the central government can do is, very often you'll come across this, central government can come out with model laws. Central government will come out with model laws, MODL, model laws. Model laws are basically recommendatory law. It is like central government is saying you can use this, right? Basic structure, you can use it. Is it compulsory that the state government should follow model law? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. Right? State government, there is no compulsion that model law should be followed by the state government. There is no compulsion on it. Done. Right, so APMCs are nothing but yards or markets which have been created by the respective state governments. The state governments will create a law under which certain identified crops, the first sale of it has to happen in the market itself. This basic concept is called as APMC. Let me show a picture to you. Do not by heart the picture. UPSC will not ask you the picture. Listen carefully. What is the use of APMC? Why should we have APMC? Point number one, can I say, whenever you have a market where a lot of sellers and buyers will come, it will create efficiency in the market. Think of it. I'll repeat the statement. You have a market where lot of buyers will come, lot of sellers will also come. Don't you think it will create efficiency in the market? Efficiency in the sense, when multiple buyers are there, prices will be discovered better. When multiple sellers are there, that is good for competition. So this is generally preferred. And that market I'm talking about is nothing but APMC. The market is nothing but APMC. Multiple sellers are there, multiple buyers are there. Right? And nobody can dictate the terms. In simple terms, it's a kind of a competition in the market. Nobody can dictate terms. For example, imagine I'm a farmer. Only you are the buyer. Am I not at your mercy? Of course, yes. You will dictate the conditions. If I'm the only seller, multiple buyers are there, I will start dictating the conditions. So in the market, multiple sellers are there, multiple buyers are there. Very good for competition. Very good for competition. Okay. That's the first one. Second one, when you have a market with all the facilities such as storage facility is there, sorting and grading facility is there, packaging facility is there, and all these are actually required for the farmers produce that they are bringing to the market. Now many of you will ask me, sir, what is the sorting and grading facility? I'll give a very simple example, don't worry. Packaging, everybody will agree, it's a very simple concept, right? You're packaging the product. What is the sorting and grading? Please let me know. When you go to the market to purchase apples, do you think all the apples are one and the same? Let me know. Do you think all the apples are one and the same? Doesn't matter whether they are produced in Kashmir, whether these are imported, whether these are Himachal apples. And don't you think there are different types of apples? Right? Different grades of apples are there. So what will the seller do? What will the seller do? They will, right, basically divide these apples into different groups. Right? They'll simply say first one is Himachal apple, right? 400 or let's say 150 rupees per kg. This is right, imported apple, 400 rupees per kg. And you must have seen very small apples, 100 rupees per kg. Now, that is point number one. This is called as sorting. This is called as sorting. Sorting means separating. Once the sorting is done, tell me now, do you think all the Himachal apples will be sold at the same price? Have you seen it? Do you think all the Himachal apples will be sold at the same price? Answer is again no. Why? Within Himachal apple grouping also, some of the apples will have black spots. Correct? Right? Some of the apples will have black spot. Right? Himachal apple with black spot will be one group. Right? Fresh Himachal apples, shining Himachal apples will be another group. Again, fresh Himachal apples, but small will be a third group. Why? Why has this been done? Right? Because please understand, the product is divided based on quality. The product has been divided based on quality itself. All are Himachal apples only, no doubt. First group is also Himachal only, second is also Himachal, third one is also Himachal. Then why not sell it at the same price? It is because though they are the same product, quality is different. That is the reason they will be divided. This is called as grading. Correct? This is called as grading. Have you not seen sorting and grading? Let me know. Have you not seen sorting and grading? Of course, yes. You should have seen it, by the way. You should have seen it, right? Otherwise, you have basically been cheated by the seller. So sorting and grading, packaging, etc. Right? All of these infrastructure is present in the APMC market. All of this infrastructure is present in the APMC market. So have a look at this. First one, what are the functions of APMC? It will promote a transparency, efficiency of pricing in the market. It will promote competition in the market. It will also ensure that there is a sufficient food grains, sufficient fruits, etc., which is available for food processing companies. Food processing basically means conversion from one form to another. We'll discuss food processing separately, but I'm telling you the definition now. What do you mean by food processing? You're converting one form to another form which will have a higher value in the market. I'll give a very simple example. While I'm taking this class, I'm pretty sure most of you would have eaten a chocolate, would have eaten, right, let's say a packet of biscuit, would have basically taken, let's say, a soft drink. Correct? All of those are eaten Maggie. So all of those are processed foods only. All of these are processed foods, right? You will take, right, let's say wheat, convert that into bread. You will take wheat, convert that into biscuit. You will take wheat, convert that into Maggie, etc., etc. So can I say Food processing is nothing but converting one form to another form so that expiry date will be increased, and also after processing it will have a higher market value. All of you will agree? Anybody has a problem with the definition? I'll repeat it again. What do you mean by food processing? Converting from one form to another so that expiry date will be increased. Expiry date. Let me prove it to you. A mango. Please tell me. Can I say mango will have an expiry date of around 1 week? Expiry date basically means what is the time period before which you will have to consume it. Mango will have an expiry date of 1 week. Apple will have an expiry date of 10 days. But if I convert this mango into maza, your favorite, if I convert this mango into maza, can I extend the expiry date? If I convert, right, let's say mango into pickle, mango into a squash, mango into a jam, can I extend the expiry date? Yes. And don't you think, right, the processed food will have a higher market value compared to the fruit of mango? Again, answer is yes. So converting, extending shelf life, extending the expiry date, and also increasing the market value. This is called as a food processing. This is called as food processing. So if you have a market, right now, food grains are available to food processing companies. Fruits are available to food processing companies. And it will promote food processing and will provide a market for buyers as well as sellers. So these are the functions which are generally attributed to the concept of APMC. Now, what are the concerns? What are the problems regarding APMCs in India? Point number one, please remember this. Point number one, in case of India, it has been found that there is no competition for the APMCs. APMCs are like a monopoly. There is no other competition for it. Now, please tell me, if there is a monopoly like a situation, don't you think the stakeholders, that is, the buyers, the sellers, etc., they will not be benefited from this infrastructure? Yes or no? They will not be benefited from this infrastructure. Many of you will say, sir, what do you mean by this? You are a farmer. You have taken the crop according to APMC law. You have taken the crop. You have gone to APMC mandi. They do not have sufficient storage infrastructure. They'll say, sorry, I don't have infrastructure. Don't you think you're facing problem? APMC doesn't have, let's say, a soil testing lab. Is it not a problem for you? APMC does not have sorting and grading infrastructure. Is it not a problem for you? So I hope you understand. APMCs act like monopolies. They're acting like monopolies. And because you do not have alternatives, many of you will say, sir, I will go to another APMC. My dear, you'll have to travel all the way to another district. And you're talking to a farmer, by the way. Think logically, think rationally always. Apply common sense. You're talking to a farmer. Don't tell a farmer, take your crop, go to another state then. Right? Your solution to a problem is a bigger problem. Travel all the way to another district or another state. Many people do that, but can everybody do that? I hope you understand. Can every farmer do that? Can a small marginal farmer do that? Absolutely no. That is out of their that is out of their comfort zone. They will not be able to spend so much additional money. So I hope you understand. The problem is, right, mandi is whatever infrastructure is available, you will have to use it. If it is not available, that becomes a problem, and they are going to collect a lot of charges from you. Second one, multiple licenses. What do you mean by multiple licenses? Point number one, please tell me, is the statement correct? APMC laws are made by the state government? Let me know. Statement one, is the APMC law made by the state government? Yes. Which means from one state to another state, there will be licensing requirements. Imagine you want to purchase in state one. You will have to get a license from state one. You want to purchase from state two. You'll have to get a license from state two. You want to purchase from state three. You'll have to get a license even in state three. So if you are a very big company, if you are a very big company, and those who are wondering what I'm doing, I've got a lot of cold. I hope you understand. I've got a lot of cold. If I don't keep on inhaling, I'll not be able to speak. Okay, so don't mind me. So let me continue. If you want to purchase from multiple states, you have to take multiple licenses. Don't you think that's a problem for buyers? Because multiple licenses means multiple charges again. That's a problem for a lot of buyers. And there are a lot of buyers who want to purchase from multiple states throughout India. So have a look at this. Requirement of multiple licenses is also a problem. Next one, sufficient infrastructure is not available. Sufficient infrastructure is not available. And the mandi does not have sufficient infrastructure. Right? So what is the solution? There is no solution. You will have to use the same market, same mandi. Okay. Next one, lot of charges are collected. Lot of charges are collected by the APMC mandis. Right, multiple charges are imposed and collected from the APMC mandis, which is a burden for, right, the buyers. So these are some of the issues or concerns regarding the APMC mandis. Now some of you are still not, right, you're not confident about the point number one. You're basically saying that point number one, I don't think so, it is a problem. My dear, I'll give you a very important current affairs example. I'll talk about current affairs example. Tell me, is it a similar situation there also? Not the same, similar. Very recently, there is a standing committee report. There is a standing committee report regarding airports in India. Regarding airports in India. There is a standing committee report which talks about airport facilities. And what does the standing committee say? Lot of these airports are involved in gold plating of infrastructure. Lot of these airports are involved in gold plating of infrastructure. Now you'll ask me, sir, what do you mean by gold plating? Let me explain to you. Imagine you go to an airport, and I hope you understand, whenever you go to an airport, immediately they will not take you to an aeroplane. I hope you understand this. You will have to go, security check will be there. After that, you will have to go to a particular boarding point, wait there for 40 minutes, 30 minutes. Then a call will be made, right? That is exactly 45 minutes before the boarding. I'm sorry, 45 minutes from the takeoff, boarding will start. Boarding means entering into a plane. And boarding also will not be done just like this, right? Certain buses will come pick you up. Otherwise, directly aerodrome will be there. Now, what if the kind of infrastructure that airport has provided is very, very high end? Very, very high end infrastructure. Seats are there. You're sitting in an airport for 20 minutes, but the cushion of the seats is a very, very good, very costly cushion has been utilized. Now, this is basically a concept of gold plating of infrastructure. Gold plating means unnecessary lot of expenditure has been done. Now, why this is a problem? Point number one, all of you will agree when I say most of the population in India cannot afford to travel by air mode of transportation. Yes or no? Most of the population in India, most of the population, hardly around 2 to 3% can afford to travel by aeroplanes. Now, why? What is the reason? Reason is simple, ticket prices. Reason is ticket prices are very, very high. Even the people who are residing in cities say ticket prices are very high, I cannot afford it. And one of the reason, this standing committee says, one of the reason ticket prices are very high, it is because of this high quality infrastructure that has been unnecessarily developed. Right? I'm going to sit in airport for let's say 10 minutes before my boarding will start. I don't mind to sit on a steel chair. I don't mind. But that airport, they will say, no, no, no. I will not have steel chair. I will have international standards. I will have very high quality cushions for you. And when they will create this kind of infrastructure, automatically ticket prices will be very high. Correct? Ticket prices will be very high. But tell me, if I want to travel from, right, say city 1 to city 2, which is 4,000 kilometers away, what is the alternative to reach city 2 within 2 hours? Let me know. What is the alternative? 4,000 kilometers away. I need to reach today itself. You'll say, sir, go by bus. I will have to change 10 buses and I might reach after 4 days. So go by train, sir. Please tell me which train will travel 4,000 kilometers in a day. Let me know. Right? Within 2 hours, I can reach from this city to this city. That is an advantage for me. But what is the alternative? Only one airport is there. Let me know. What is the alternative? Only one airport from my city. So can I say this example? This example, can I say airports are acting like a monopoly? Let me know. Airports are acting like a monopoly. You'll have to spend more money. You don't require so much of infrastructure. But what is the alternative? You tell me. What is the alternative? There is no alternative. Within 2 hours, nobody can take you right all the way from city 1 to city 2, which is across, let's say, right, 2,000 kilometers or 3,000 kilometers, right? So basically, this is the situation. So all of you will agree? Apply the same logic to APMC Mandi now. At least now apply the logic. You do not have any alternative. You'll have to take your crop to sell it in this market only. They will impose charges. No alternative. You'll have to pay. They will say no infrastructure, sufficient infrastructure. No alternative. You'll have to use the right available infrastructure. Okay. So this is basically the concern regarding APMC, right? Issue regarding APMC. The next one is a concept of ENAM. I'll take it up after the break. Let me take a break. After the break, I'll take it up. But before that, if there are any issues, any questions, please do let me know. If 5 members in family, 3 members in one state, 2 members in another, then 3 members can take their rise in the state. Yes, in whichever state you are, I repeat, in whichever state you are, you can get the entitlement according to your numbers. Let's say 5 people are there. I am there in the second state. I will take 5 kgs. Remaining 20 kgs, my family will take in my native village. That can be done. Okay. Repeat concept of APMC market. Where, Baba? What point should I repeat? We have discussed APMC for last 20 minutes. What point should I repeat? You tell me that. Okay, finally, some of the people are reading newspapers. I'm happy. Some of you are asking. In fact, two people have asked. What is this middle income trap? Middle income trap means, right, your per capita income. In fact, it was mentioned in the newspaper also. Middle income trap means your income will increase, right? From low income, you'll become a middle income country, and your target is you want to become a high end country or developed country. But for that to reach, for that to achieved, your incomes have to increase very fast. But generally, what has been observed is once you will shift from a low income country to a middle income country, after that, your incomes will not start increasing, right? Even if they increase by very marginal number, they will start changing very, very small like this. That is called as a middle income trap. Okay. How selling will occur in APMC? In APMC, physical sales also will happen. That is, if you're a farmer, I'll come to you, right? Others will also come, bidding will happen, and I'll purchase. Physical sales is also done. And now even digital sales is allowed. I'll come to that. That is through ENAM. I'll come to that after the break. If APMCs have monopoly, why can't government allow private mandis? They are promoting it. Private mandis are being promoted, but please understand, very difficult for private mandis to come up. It's not that easy. Many of you keep on asking, sir, if you say there's a shortage of, let's say, warehousing infrastructure, why is the government not developing infrastructure? My dear, you can't do that overnight. You cannot simply come to a conclusion, let me increase warehousing infrastructure today, and after 1 week infrastructure will be ready. Not possible, not at all possible. It will take multiple years to reach a particular level, develop infrastructure. And don't you think by the time I reach a particular level, again production would have increased? Yes or no? Again production would also have increased. So that kind of right cat and mouse game is always there. Okay. What is active and passive funds? Active means you can keep on changing investments, you can keep on changing your portfolio. Passive means you cannot change your portfolio combination. For example, please tell me, if you purchase an ETF, do you remember concept of ETF or not? Exchange traded funds. Please tell me, if you purchase your exchange traded fund, can you change the combination in the ETF? Let me know. Can you change the combination? No. You will have to either purchase a full packet or sell the full packet. So can I call it as a passive? Passive. You cannot change combination. But on the other side, mutual funds. Please tell me, mutual funds. Can the mutual fund company keep on changing their assets from one day to the next day? If you're a mutual fund manager, you will purchase government bonds today, sell them tomorrow, purchase Infosys shares, right? Sell Infosys shares, purchase, right? Let's say, right, shares of Tata company. So can you keep on changing your composition? Of course, yes. Right, active and passive. Okay. If APMC have monopoly, okay, I've answered this. What are the warehouse installation process? What do you mean by warehouse installation process? Please do let me know. Right, installation, if you think how do we construct it, there is a complete procedure that you're supposed to follow. Warehousing development is not that easy. It's not easy. Please understand, acquisition of land itself is very difficult. Okay, done. So let me stop the discussion now. Let me stop the discussion. We'll restart the discussion at 7:16. Take a break. We'll restart the discussion at 7:16. Okay, welcome back. Good evening, everyone. Can we start? Just a second. Okay, let's start. Let's start. So we have discussed APMCs, correct? We have discussed concept of APMC. Now let's have a discussion regarding the reform. One of the reform of Government of India to promote the model of APMC is ENAM. What is ENAM? ENAM stands for Electronic National Agriculture Market. Please look at the long form first. Electronic National Agriculture Market. Now, what is this concept of Electronic National Agriculture Market? Let me start with a very simple example. Imagine there is this one APMC Mandi, second APMC Mandi, and let's say a third APMC Mandi. The square boxes or rectangle boxes that I've written here, imagine these are mandis. Now, you as a buyer will have to have multiple licenses if you want to purchase the products, and imagine these are from three different states. So you'll have to take a license in state 1, state 2, state 3. That's a problem. Second one, even the buyers, I'm sorry, even the sellers, rather than trying to compete with the sellers from the same market, it is better to compete with sellers from other market as well. But how can we do this? How can we ensure the buyers don't have to take multiple licenses? One license is sufficient. And second, right, one license can give them access to all the APMC mandis in India. And the sellers, rather than competing with only their competitors in one market, how can we ensure they will compete with all the other sellers in other APMC yards? The logic is ENAM or the concept that has been introduced to address this issue is the ENAM, E-National Agriculture Market. Now, what is this E-National Agriculture Market? Let me ask you a very simple question with a concept here. Listen carefully. All of you used Amazon app, Amazon or Flipkart app? Yes or no? Right? You have used very recently during a festival. You will use it again now because there is a lot of festival. Now, if you want to purchase one product, are there multiple sellers of the same product in the same app? Yes or no? Are there multiple sellers of the same product in the same app? Right? There will be one seller A1, A2, A3, XYZ, ABC, and all of them will have a slight difference in terms of pricing. Somebody could be charging you 795, somebody will charge you 790, somebody will charge you 800. Not just that, some of them will charge you for packaging the product, correct? They'll say packaging cost will be additional plus 90. Some of them will tell you if you order it right now or within next 1.5 hour, you will get the product tomorrow itself. Some of them will tell you you'll get it after 3 days. Can you apply the same logic to mandi here? Apply the same logic to multiple mandis. That is, there are multiple mandis. You want to purchase, imagine you want to purchase rice. Rather than going to only one mandi, now there is a platform, right? Platform, just a website where you can see sellers of rice from mandi 1, sellers of rice from the mandi 2, and the sellers of rice from the mandi 3. So with the same license, only one license, you will be able to purchase rice from all the three mandis or even one of the mandi. And now can I simply say, if all the rice sellers of all the three mandis, rice sellers, that is farmers from all the three mandis, if they are present in the platform, there is a better competition in the market. All of you agree with me? The rice sellers or farmers from all the three states are present in the same platform. They are trying to sell rice. and different buyers. You could be a buyer, I could be a buyer, your friend also could be a buyer, right? Or let's say more superstore could be a buyer, Britannia company could be a buyer. All of us will compete with each other to purchase, right? Let's say rice, to purchase wheat from the same platform. So now the argument is simple. Multiple sellers are there on the same platform. Multiple buyers are there on the same platform. What is the advantage? Until now, you want to purchase wheat, you will have to go to a mandi. Now, please tell me, do you have to go to a mandi to purchase wheat? Let me know. Do you have to go to a mandi to purchase wheat? Not required. Until recently, you want to purchase a wheat from two different states, two licenses. Now, do you require two licenses? No, only one license is required. So, can I say ENAM will make the market much more efficient? ENAM will promote transparency in pricing. ENAM will promote competition. ENAM will also promote ease of doing business because you do not require multiple licenses. And ENAM will also make it much better, or will improve the returns of the farmers. Because rather than selling it to a group of buyers, now they can sell it to any buyer across India. Right, so that is the concept of electronic national agriculture market. Electronic national agriculture market. So ENAM is being implemented by one authority by the name of Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium, FSAC. Government of India has allocated certain funds, and any mandi which wants to get connected to the ENAM. It is basically, if you want to understand in a simple way, can I say ENAM is nothing but connecting mandis electronically. Let me know. Connecting the mandis electronically. That is, you will connect this mandi as well as this mandi. Now, in the website or in the platform, you can simply say which farmer is trying to sell which product. You don't have to go to the market. You can sit in the right in your home, in your office, look at the platform. You will come to know which farmer is trying to sell which crop. Right, so it is basically connecting multiple mandis through electronic connection. Hence, it is called as e-national agriculture market. Multiple mandis have got into ENAM, but there is a requirement to bring all the ENAMs. As of Government of India, as of Government of India's data, 24th of February 2023, the number of mandis which have been brought onto the platform is 1361. But please understand, number is not constant. From this month to the next month, more mandis will be brought on ENAM. So number will keep on changing. You don't worry. You don't worry about it. So the turnover will be more than 51,000 crore. In fact, it is more than 75,000 crore now. 1.75 crore farmers so far are registered on the ENAM portal. Done. So these are certain points in favor of e-national agriculture market. But what is a concern? What is a concern regarding the ENAM? First one, interest rate transactions are very less. Please tell me, if you want to make the market much more efficient, if you want to improve the competition, don't you think there should be more and more interest rate transactions? Just think logically, by the way. You want market pricing to be much more efficient. You want competition to increase. So don't you think more and more interest rate transactions are a proof of it? Because if you are talking about more and more interest rate, means buyer and seller are from two different states. Buyer and seller are from two different states. Higher competition means more participation, better will be the pricing. So lower interest rate transactions, we need to work upon it. We need to increase interest rate transaction numbers. Second one is infrastructure is lagging behind. Because please understand, I said ENAM is nothing but connecting the mandis. Connection of the mandis will be created. If you want the farmers to bring their crops to the mandis, mandi should have sufficient infrastructure of sorting, grading, etc. So that is also lagging behind. Many state governments, right? For example, right, some of the students looked at this graph and said, Sorry, in some of the states, numbers are very less, very, very less. My dear, please understand. First point, the state government should agree to bring the APMC mandis under ENAM, because the APMC mandis purely are under the state government. Second, many state governments have their own system. Many state governments have their own system to promote the similar concept of digital marketing, agriculture marketing. For example, look at Karnataka. Look at Karnataka. Only two mandis, right? Again, the data will keep on changing. Only two mandis have been brought under ENAM. Right? Why? Karnataka government has its own platform. There's a platform, right, by the name of REMS. If we can just magnify it, you'll see there's a platform by the name of REMS. REMS basically stands for Rashtriya E-Marketing Services. Similar to ENAM only, state government of Karnataka, even before ENAM, had implemented REMS. That is a precise reason most of the mandis within Karnataka are already connected through the concept of REMS. So I hope you understand, whenever you look at all of these, think state government, think central government, what would be the concern, etc. like this. Okay. All the farmers are yet to adopt a digital methodology. Farmers prefer to sell, right, with the physical presence. Farmers are not tech savvy. You're expecting farmers to adopt a digital technology. That is, they will bring the crop rather than selling it to you, who is already present in the mandi. They will get the crop listed in the platform, and in the platform they will try to negotiate with the other buyers in the market. It's a digital technology. You are expecting the farmers to adopt a digital technology. It will take time. So a lot of farmers are yet to adopt. Hardly around 2 crore farmers are there. Total number of farmers in India is more than 15 crores. So a lot of farmers are yet to adopt this concept of a digital technology. It will take time. Done. So concept of ENAM is over. Anybody has a problem? What is basically ENAM, online mandi, my dear? It is a platform. Do you understand the term platform? Do you understand the term website? Right? If you are finding it difficult, please type ENAM. Google. Go to Google. Please type ENAM. You will see, right? There is a platform which has been created by the government. Farmers can get registered, right? Of course, through their mandi, and buyers can get registered. Just like that's the reason I asked you, have you used Amazon? Amazon is a platform, correct? Amazon is a platform. What about Flipkart? Flipkart is also a platform. Multiple buyers are there, multiple sellers are there. Across India, from different state, apply the same logic to ENAM. Okay. Next, usage of technology in the agriculture sector. Usage of technology in agriculture sector. First one, ENAM. Just now we have completed. ONORC also completed. So first two we have completed. Let me discuss silos, drone, as well as a nano urea. First one, nano urea. Right? What is nano urea? Nano urea or nano fertilizers are nothing but liquid fertilizers. Nano fertilizers are nothing but liquid fertilizers. In case of India, we have developed nano DAP, diammonium phosphate. We also have developed nano urea. Now, what is this concept of liquid fertilizers here? Argument is simple. Government says we are heavily dependent on imports. I repeat, we are heavily dependent on the imports of fertilizers, be it diammonium phosphate, be it urea. We are importing a lot. And whenever in the international market, the prices will fluctuate, government has to pay huge amount of subsidies. Subsidy burden for the government will also increase. Third, whenever you're importing or producing urea, these are imported or produced and sold in form of bags. And because these are in bags, cost of transportation is also higher, cost of storage is also higher. And instead of all of this, government is promoting the production of liquid fertilizers within the domestic market. Production of liquid. Nano means liquid here. Please understand. Of course, nano means nanotechnology. But all these nano fertilizers are liquid fertilizers. What is the reason why government of India is promoting it? Point number one, please look at it and let me know. If you start producing nano fertilizers, that is liquid fertilizers, in India, can we reduce import dependence? It will promote Atmanirbharta. Point number one. Point number two, instead of crystalline urea, in fact, last week I asked you to look at urea pictures. Urea is generally in the form of crystals. Instead of a crystalline urea, if you have a liquid urea, the government says the absorption of nitrogen is very, very high. Is it okay? Absorption of nitrogen in case of liquid urea is much higher. Plants will absorb more nitrogen whenever you apply liquid urea compared to a crystalline urea. Now, please tell me, if plants will absorb more of nitrogen in case of liquid urea, can I say it will have a direct impact on productivity of the plants? Correct? Can I say, right? It will have a direct impact on productivity of the plants. If you absorb more nutrients, more productivity. Very simple, logical, right connection here. Right. Third important point: one bag of nitrogen, one bag of urea, 45 kgs. A bottle of right liquid urea of 500 ml, bottle of 500 ml, half a liter, right, liquid urea can easily be used as a substitute, can substitute one bag of urea, which means cost of transportation will come down, cost of storage will also come down. So these are basically the reasons why government of India is actually promoting the concept of nano fertilizers in India. And there is a very important cooperative in India. Please remember the name of the cooperative: Indian Farmers Cooperatives Limited. Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Limited. IFCO. IFCO is a cooperative. IFCO has developed the first nano urea in the world. IFCO has developed the first nano urea, liquid urea for the first time has been developed in the world by IFCO. Right, so a 500 ml bottle of IFCO nano urea liquid will replace one bag of conventional solid, right, or crystalline urea. And what about the pricing? Government says even if I don't give subsidy, half a liter bottle can be sold somewhere at around 270 rupees. Half a liter of bottle without subsidy will come at around 270 rupees. So automatically the subsidy burden on the government will also come down. These are some of the reasons why government of India is promoting usage of technology in the form of nanotechnology to promote to promote Atmanirbharta, to promote self-reliance in the fertilizer sector. Okay, right? So that is one more nano urea. Next one, concept of silos for warehousing. Concept of silos for storage. Now, point number one, many of you will ask me, what do you mean by a silo? Please let me know. Is the picture on the right side, top of the slide is visible to all of you? Let me know. Is the picture in the right top of the slide is visible to you? Can you see tank-like structures here? Aluminium, steel, you using the metals like this, right? The tank-like structures are built. These are called as silos. These are basically called as silos, right? The tank-like structures, large structures which are created, which are constructed for warehousing purposes, for storage purposes. These are called as silos, right? So what is the definition? Silos are nothing but large structures which are created, which will be used for warehousing. That's a definition. Now, why is government of India promoting silos? In India, please remember this. Traditionally, warehousing is done by constructing buildings. Warehouses are nothing but buildings. Buildings are constructed, and those buildings are used for storage purposes. Now, government of India says rather than developing buildings, why don't we promote, right, silos in India like they have done in Western markets? Silos are very famous in developed countries. We are promoting the development of silos in India in recent times. Reason is simple. One, silos are much more right higher in terms of storage capacity. They can store large quantities, much higher quantities compared to the traditional warehouses that we have. Second, whenever you want to keep food grains in the silos or remove the food grains from the silos, technology, that is mechanical equipments, is used more, which means compared to our traditional warehouses where human labor is used, in case of silos, technology reliance would be higher. Okay, that is one more advantage. Now, because you are using technology and the storage capacity is much higher, automatically the cost for storage, how much money you will have to spend for storage in silos, is much lower compared to our traditional warehouses. As per Government of India's documents, if you're going to spend, right, X amount, imagine if you're going to spend X amount in storage of food grains in a silos, same quantity if you want to store in a traditional warehouse, you will end up spending 5 times or 6 times the X rupees. Is the logic okay? In a right a silo, X rupee. In a traditional warehouse, 5x or 6x rupees. So cost of storage in traditional warehouses is very high compared to a silo. And finally, government says the silos can withstand natural calamities much better compared to our traditional warehouses. Natural calamities such as earthquake, floods, etc., they can withstand, right, the natural calamities in a much better way, stronger compared to our traditional warehouses. So these are some of the reasons why Government of India is actually promoting the development of warehousing through silo system itself. In fact, government is promoting development of lot of warehousing through public private partnership, PPP. PPP stands for public private partnership. What do you mean by public private partnership? Both the government authorities as well as private sector will come together and develop or operate a particular infrastructure. Is it okay? All of you understand what is PPP? We'll discuss PPP later separately. But as of now, what do you mean by public-private partnership? Right? PPP, the government agency as well as the private sector will come together, enter into an agreement either to develop and operate a particular infrastructure. That is the concept of a public-private partnership. Right, so these are certain important points regarding the concept of silos, right, development of silos for warehousing in India. And one more very important usage of technology, usage of drones. Right, now what do you mean by a drone here? Drones are simply unmanned aerial vehicles. You've heard of UAVs? Yes or no? You have heard of UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicle. Traditionally or generally, whenever you come across the term UAV, you'll imagine, right, a vehicle coming and dropping a bomb. But don't worry, unmanned aerial vehicle. Again, some of you are asking, what do you mean by unmanned? My dear, you please tell me, if I write the term unmanned, what does it mean? If I write a term unmanned, what does it mean? English, by the way. It's not right. Economics, it is English. Unmanned means there is no person who is sitting inside the vehicle. I hope you understand, right? Without any person sitting in the vehicle, that is called as unmanned. There is no operator within the vehicle, right? It is being operated by somebody outside the vehicle. This is called as a concept of unmanned vehicle. For example, if you have seen an aeroplane, there is a pilot, correct? There will be a pilot. But if there is no pilot, but this vehicle is being operated by a pilot sitting outside the vehicle, these are called as unmanned aerial vehicles. I'm actually surprised by a lot of you people. I'm surprised by, right, looking at the comments given by a lot of you. Lot of you. Why? Are you people not reading about Israel and Hamas war? Yes or no? Israel and Hamas war. Are they not using UAVs, drones for dropping of the bombs? Baba, what are you reading? I don't know what you people are reading, but some of you are not reading. I'm pretty sure about it. Okay, come back to economics anyways. So agriculture drones are essentially nothing but unmanned aerial vehicles. Unmanned aerial vehicles. Very small vehicles are used. Drones. Now, why is the government of India promoting drones in the agriculture sector? Because the drones are being promoted in defense sector. drones are being used in many other sectors. Why specifically agriculture sector? Why agriculture sector? Reasons are very simple. Government says using these drones, you can easily assess what is happening in the agriculture field, whether plants in a particular part of the field are they growing correctly, or in one part of the field there is an attack of the pest, in one of the part of the field whether irrigation, that is water, is reaching correctly or not. You can easily assess, right, what is happening in the agriculture field. That's very easy to do. Point number one. Point number two, if I start using agriculture drones, we will improve the efficiency of many of these application timing. What do you mean by this? As a farmer, I need to apply fertilizer. As a farmer, I need to apply a lot of insecticide as well as pesticide. Traditionally, what we would do is we would be dependent on human labor. We would hire certain labor, agriculture labor, pay them, and right, they will keep on applying throughout the field for multiple days. Government of India says rather than being dependent on a human labor, right, you can use agriculture drones, and the application part, be it fertilizer, be it insecticide, you can complete in a very very short duration. For example, look at the data here. An agriculture drone, government of India's data I'm talking about, the government says if you use an agriculture drone, you can apply pesticide for 1 hectare of land. You can apply pesticide for 1 hectare of land within 15 minutes. Within 15 minutes you can finish the application of pesticide, whereas if you hire labor, agriculture labor, they will do it for hours together they will do it. So in terms of efficiency, this is much much cheaper, or it is much much less time consuming, less reliance on a human labor. It is also cost effective, and can be used to assess yield, can be used to assess the crop productivity. And please understand, in many cases, government says the agriculture drones can be used to reduce accidents in the agriculture. Accidents in the agriculture, right? Many of you ask me, sir, what do you mean by accidents in the agriculture? Have you come across newspaper articles where a farmer will be trampled by an elephant? Yes or no? Have you come across these kind of articles? A farmer, right, or a group of people have been infected by a particular, right, let's say a pathogen, who are working in the field, right? A farmer, right, or let's say a farmer is bitten by a snake when he was applying a fertilizer, etc. So I hope you understand. In fact, in many cases, farmers suffer injuries because they will try to handle chemicals bare hand. This is also a fact. Please remember this. The farmers, right, because they don't have so much of information, they will try to handle these fertilizers, chemicals, fertilizer, nothing but chemicals. They will try to handle these chemicals with bare hands, and there can be multiple accidents because of that. So government of India says let's address all of it. Let's start replacing human labor with agriculture drones, right? So these are some of the reasons why government is actually promoting more and more usage of drones in the agriculture sector. Now coming to certain points here, some of you are asking these questions, so let me address it. Some of you are asking, sir, drones are very costly. Drones are very costly, how can a farmer purchase? Government doesn't want the farmer to purchase. Absolutely no. Government doesn't want you to purchase a drone. Can you take a drone on rental basis? Just like a car. I hope you know you can take a two-wheeler on rental basis. You can take car on rental basis. Apply the same logic to the drone. Government says there are a lot of commercial enterprises. Agriculture universities are there. There are many people. I will provide them subsidies. They will purchase drones. Farmers don't have to purchase. Farmers can take the services of the drones from these type of providers, right? So that is a basic idea, right? Agriculture universities are there, many hiring centers are there, right? Many of these farmer producer organizations are there, cooperative societies are there. Government will provide subsidies for them. They will provide the services to the farmers at a cheaper cost. In fact, please understand, remember this, drone is one such product. I don't know how many of you keep on reading all of this. Concept of hiring these products, taking these products on rental basis in agriculture sector is very common. I don't know how many of you know this, right? This concept is very common, right? Many private sector companies, many agriculture universities keep on providing these services, not just drones, many other services, right? Many other services are provided like this. Okay, so government under a scheme, there's a scheme by the name of SMAM, submission on agriculture mechanization. I'll write it, submission on agriculture mechanization. Okay, submission on agriculture mechanization. Okay, so under a scheme called as a submission on agriculture mechanization, government of India provides a lot of subsidies, and again, from one type of beneficiary to another type of beneficiary, subsidy amounts are different based on the type of a drone, based on the size of the drone, cost of the drone. Subsidies given are different, but government says I'll give you subsidy, purchase them and provide the services to the farmers. This is the reason why agriculture drones are being promoted by the government. Now, coming to one more question, many of the students are asking this, sir, if we will start using drones, it will create unemployment. My dear, question number one, my counter question to all of you, do you think the number of people who are working in agriculture sector in India are actually efficient in numbers? Think of it by the way. Do you think the number of people who are already working in agriculture sector, do we require so many people to work in agriculture sector? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. Please remember this. There is a term called as a disguised unemployment. Okay, there's a term called as a disguised unemployment. What do you mean by disguised unemployment? Disguised unemployment simply means more than required number of labor is actually working. I'll repeat the statement. Disguised unemployment means, I'll simply give an example. Imagine you'll require only 2 people to finish your work, but you will employ 3 people, which means rather than 3 people are working, one extra person is working. You don't require that one extra person. Even if you remove that one extra person, productivity remains the same. This is basically called as a disguised unemployment. And the best example of disguised unemployment in India is agriculture sector. Right? It is agriculture sector. It is the best example of disguised unemployment. So one, we will have to reduce our dependence. That's a simple fact. Second one, okay. Second one, please understand the second point as well. If certain people will lose the wage opportunities, correct, certain people will lose the wage opportunities, on the other side, are we not creating employment opportunities for people who will provide these drone services? Correct, right? The people, there will be more jobs created for providing these drone services. So in case of rural India, jobs can also be created, who will be given jobs to provide drone services. So I hope you understand the argument here. In fact, I'll give you a current affairs example. Please tell me, if the concept of drone technology was very prevalent in India's agriculture sector, it is not yet. If that was very much prevalent in the agriculture sector during pandemic, agriculture sector would have performed even better. During pandemic, I'm talking about pandemic. Some of you will be having a doubt, sir, how during pandemic performance would be better? My dear, during pandemic, what happened to labor? Was the labor easily available? Lot of this labor migrated back to the respective villages, right? So availability of labor was very difficult during pandemic, not only in agriculture sector but other sectors also. But if the concept of drone technology was right majorly used at that point of time, you could have expected farmers to have a much high relief, as such would have experienced a much higher relief. Okay, so that is basically an argument, right? Let me go forward now. Concept of food processing. Okay, concept of food processing. In fact, please understand this. I'll just add one more point here from current affairs from different sources. Generally, you will not get this in the book. Why is that? Lot of population in India is located in agriculture sector. What is the reason? Right? Why generally we say around 45% plus. Generally around 45% of the working population in India. Why is it present in agriculture sector? Right? Reason is simple. One, agriculture sector. Right? In case of agriculture sector, there are no documentations required. No graduates are required. Right? Have you seen a farmer, right, giving a wage work, but they will check your certificates first? Does it happen? Right? Graduation is not required. There is no requirement whatsoever. You want to work in the field, please come work, take your money, take your wages. But more importantly, let me get into the technical aspect of it. A large percent of the population in case of India, working population by the way, is stuck up in the agriculture sector because they do not have appropriate skill sets. Please remember this. They do not have appropriate skill sets. Qualification is also a problem, of course, yes. But even those who are qualified, if they do not have any kind of a skill set, they'll find it very difficult to get absorbed in the market. In fact, we'll discuss that later. We'll discuss that later when I take up employment, unemployment situation in India. I'll tell you why there's a problem of skilling in India. Even if there's a skilling done, why everybody is not getting absorbed in the labor market, etc., etc. We'll discuss more on this when I take up employment as well as unemployment later. Okay. Next concept of food processing. The idea of food processing. Now, what is this food processing? Earlier itself, I've told you, food processing essentially means you are transforming. Transforming means converting from one form to another form. But in the process of converting, you are increasing the shelf life, you are increasing the expiry date, and also you are increasing the market value. That is concept of food processing. For example, I told you wheat will be converted into biscuit, wheat will be converted into bread, mango will be converted into juice, pickles, etc., etc. You can keep on giving multiple examples. For example, one more example, day to day common example, right? Yeah, milk will be converted into cheese, correct? Milk can be converted into milk powder, milk can be converted into paneer also, right? So I hope you understand all of this process of conversion, extending the shelf life, extending the shelf life, and basically by increasing the price is called as a food processing, right? That is called as food processing. Okay. Now, why do we need food processing in India? What is the reason? Let me take a current affairs example. In fact, I've told you this also earlier. Tomato prices. Have you not seen tomato prices at one point of time very, very low in India? Crashed tomato prices in India. 2 rupees per kg, 3 rupees per kg, 4 rupees per kg. And at another point of time, tomato prices will hit 80 rupees, 90 rupees, right? 120 rupees. So what is the problem here? Problem is very simple. There is no, right? There's no stability in the market prices. There's no stability. And if you ask me, sir, why there is no stability? Supply is not there. In certain time period, supply is very high. In another time period, supply is very low. And I hope you understand this, right? It could be because of external factors, it could be because of internal factors. There are multiple factors at play here. It's very dynamic market. So argument is simple here. When the prices will crash to 2 rupees or 3 rupees, farmers will throw away these tomatoes on the road. You must have seen that. They'll simply throw away the tomatoes because they will realize that even if they take it to the market, they are not going to earn sufficient amount of money. In fact, the cost of transportation would be higher than the money they will earn. So what they will do? They will simply discard them, simply throw them away. So don't you think there's a need to one stabilize a supply in the market? First one, you need to have stable supply in the market. Second, whenever there's a very high production, can we take a part of it, process it into one more form so that whenever there's a lower supply, we can supply the processed foods in the market. correct? We can supply the processed foods in the market. So there are multiple reasons as to promote food processing. Let's go one by one. First one, household incomes have increased, right? And whenever the household incomes whenever the incomes increase, the demand for the processed foods will also increase. Can I quote a current affairs example? By 2047, if India's per capita income becomes as per the expectations of the government of India, please tell me, will the demand for processed foods be higher or not? All of you will agree with me? Demand for processed foods would automatically become higher. And again, some of you simply say, sir, but the processed foods are not good for health. Not necessarily. I hope you understand. All the processed foods necessarily are not harmful, right? Which means there are a lot of processed foods which are good for your health, good for my health as well. Best example, processed milk, correct? What about paneer? What about cheese? Right, so there are a lot of products which are good for consumption even after the processing of the product as such. So do not be under the assumption that whatever is the processed food always it is bad. Absolutely no, absolutely no. Okay, so one, household incomes, household household incomes have increased, and when the household incomes will start increasing, the demand for the processed foods will also be higher. Second one, large part of the population in India is below the age group of 25 years. Large part of the population is below the age group of 25 years. Now, please tell me, please tell me, when large part of the population is below the age group of 25 years, the preference for processed foods automatically will be higher or not? Let me know. The preference for processed food, will it be higher or not? Of course, yes. Preference will be very, very high. For example, if you have any niece or nephew or your cousins, etc., who are in the age group of, let's say, 10 years, 15 years, or you yourself, please think what you want to consume. You want to consume pizza, you want to consume a cheese, or you want to consume rotis, etc. Preference for processed foods is always high, very, very high amongst the youth population. Okay. Third one, India produces huge quantities of agriculture output, which means the possibility of wastage is also very high. So by processing, we will reduce the wastages. And by processing, we can also export it to international market so that it will provide benefit to us. Now, there are two students who are saying you always take the example of tomato. My dear, please tell me, can we use food processing to address the issue of onion prices? Let me know. Can we use food processing to address the issue of onion prices? Answer is yes, by the way. What about milk prices? What about milk prices? Can we use processing of the foods to basically stabilize milk prices in India? Of course, yes. How? My dear, milk can be converted into milk powder. And those who are wondering how, etc., please understand. Whenever we talk about agriculture sector, throughout the year, you will not have same production. Throughout the year, you cannot have same production, right? That's a fact, by the way, right? For example, milk. For the milk production to be higher, the fodder availability should be higher. All of you will agree with me. The fodder availability should be higher. And when is the fodder availability good in India? Right? Whenever the rainfall is there. So during and around this particular rainfall season, fodder availability will increase. Quality fodder is available to the, let's say, the cows, etc. Production would be higher. That is the reason there is the concept of lean season. Lean means right after the rainy season is over, after certain time period, let's say during summer season. During summer season, do you think the fodder quality will be very high in India? No, it will suffer. Right, so automatically milk production will also come down. Lean season is there. So for milk also there is a lean season. For onion also there is a lean season and a very high production season. For tomato also there is a lean season and a very high production season. So in agriculture sector, there is always a cycle like this. There is always a cycle. You can always use food processing to ensure that during a lean season, processed foods availability will be increased and automatically the prices will cool down. I'll give you an example. In fact, it happened. How many of you know that when tomato prices shot up to 200 250 rupees, the demand for tomato puree actually went very high in India. Let me see. How many of you know that the demand for the puree product, tomato puree product, it actually reached very high in India when tomato prices reached 200 rupees, 220 rupees, and 250 rupees. Right? Why? Tomato puree for 1 kg would cost you somewhere around 90 rupees or 100 rupees. Tomato ketchup would cost you somewhere around 100 rupees. Whereas fresh tomato would cost you around 200 rupees. You as a consumer, please think what makes better sense to you. Purchasing a puree at 120 rupees or purchasing a fresh tomato at 250 rupees. Right? So that is a precise reason. That is a precise reason. Now some of you are saying, no sir, even then I will purchase fresh tomato. Good, you have lot of money. Everybody will not do that. Right? Good, it's good that you want to pay 250 rupees to purchase fresh tomatoes. Good, you have lot of money. Do you think restaurants will do the same thing? Apply logic, apply common sense. Right? Do you think a McDonald's will do the same thing? In fact, there not a discussion? McDonald's looking at the price of a tomato would remove the tomato, one slice of tomato that they would put in a burger. Right? So I hope you understand. Okay, but anyways, so these are some of the reasons why why we require to promote the concept of food processing. Now, what has the government of India done to promote food processing? What kind of reforms have been implemented? Let's go point by point. Some of the reforms. In fact, please understand, uh, there was a one reform by the name of Mega Food Park. There was one reform by the name of Mega Food Park. I'm using the term there was for a very simple reason. From 2021, Government of India has withdrawn Mega Food Parks. From 2021, Government of India has withdrawn an initiative of Mega Food Parks. Please remember this. There is a bigger reform. There is a term called as Pradhana Mantri. I'll write PM. PM means obviously Pradhana Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. Pradhana Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. Please be very careful with this scheme. I'll tell you why. Please be very careful with this scheme. Why it was there in the current affairs. Many of you will have a doubt, sir. How? I've been reading Hindu from last 6 months religiously. I've never come across Pradhana Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana in Hindu newspaper. I'll tell you the context, then you tell me, does that article ring any bell in your mind? One Chief Minister of India, don't worry about the name, one Chief Minister of India, the wife of the Chief Minister is related to one food processing company. And one more political party's member accused the chief minister that your wife is getting lot of assistance subsidies for the food processing. Right? So there was an accusation, there was an allegation. I'm simply saying allegation. Right? I don't want to prove that it is basically has gone to court, etc., etc. So there was an allegation, right? Because you're the chief minister, your wife is getting lot of assistance, right? Or the wife's owned company is getting lot of assistance. There was an allegation. Some of you have got it, some of you have not got it. Please don't worry. But the scheme where the allegation was made, it was Pradhana Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. Right, the scheme under which the allegation was raised was a Pradhana Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. It was basically PMKSY. So again, some of you might simply say it was not there in the newspaper, but it was tangentially connected. It was tangentially connected with this particular allegation as such. That is the reason. Please be very careful. Okay. So under Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, government earlier had launched a scheme called as Mega Food Park Scheme. Mega Food Park Scheme. Now, what is this Mega Food Park Scheme? Please understand. All of you heard of software tech parks? Let me know. All of you have heard of software tech parks? Some of you, in fact, I'm pretty sure, are employed in software tech parks. And some of you saying, no, sir, I've never heard of it. My dear, software tech parks means there is a particular area, infrastructure is there, lot of software companies are operating from that area. Very simple. Lot of companies, they have opened up their offices in that particular area itself. This is a concept of software technology park. Now, do not worry about software technology park in economics. I'm not going to talk about it. Apply the same logic for food processing units. I'll give a very simple example. Imagine there is one company which wants to convert wheat into biscuit. Okay, there is one company which wants to convert wheat into biscuit. There is one more company which wants to convert wheat into bread, and there is one more company which wants to simply convert wheat into wheat flour, atta. They want to purchase wheat, convert that into flour, package it, and sell it. So can I say there are three companies? All the three companies have their individual preferences. They want to produce, They want to produce, basically different products using a same raw material. Rather than all the three companies individually going to the market, trying to find a farmer, trying to purchase, then having their own infrastructure, what makes better sense? I repeat, what makes better sense is they will have one area, right? There is a one region, a small area where multiple food processing units will have their infrastructure. Is it okay? Company A will have infrastructure to convert, the wheat into biscuit. Company B will have infrastructure to convert a wheat into bread. Company C will have an infrastructure to convert wheat into flour. So multiple food processing companies, they will have their units of food processing within the same area. That area is called as a mega food park. Why? What is the advantage here? Why are they present within the same area? Don't you think if all of them are present in the same area, logistics can be done much more easily? Correct? That is movement of raw materials, storage of raw materials, or getting certain inputs or outputs, etc. Does that make sense to you or not? It can be done much more efficiently, much more easily. That is the precise reason. It's a concept of cluster. Cluster means grouping. Clustering always will help you. Clustering always will help you, right? So it's a cluster, nothing but a cluster of multiple food processing units. So in this mega food park, multiple companies will have their processing units. They will source their raw material, process it, and either export it to international market or sell it in the domestic market. This model is called as a mega food park. This model is referred to as mega food park. Done, right? Till 2021, right? Till 2021, this model has been implemented by the government has withdrawn this. In fact, instead of mega food park, now there is a agro processing cluster, APC. Please remember this. Mega food parks now has been converted into one more form called as agro processing clusters, APC scheme. Agro processing clusters from 2021, APC is being implemented. It's a modified version of mega food park. Now many of you ask me, sir, why? What happened to mega food park? Why did we modify it? Reason that the government of India has given is we wanted lot of mega food parks to be set up in India. We wanted lot of MFPs to be set up in India. And within each of the MFPs, we wanted lot of units, processing units. That has not happened in India. Right? That is the precise reason why MFP Mega Food Park has been basically converted into one more form now, which is called as a agro processing clusters, APC. In fact, under APC, Government of India simply says, if you want to set up an APC, you can have at least 5 processing units. Within one APC, within one cluster, you can have 5 processing units, right? At least 5 processing units is more than sufficient. We will promote APCs now. So what is this mega food park? It was launched in 2008 to promote infrastructure for sorting, grading, processing of agriculture commodities or agriculture products. Financial assistance would be provided by the government here. Grants would be provided. How much? 50% of the cost of the project, or maximum 50 crore rupees. 50% of the cost of the project, maximum up to 50 crore rupees. Each of these mega food parks, look at the target earlier. Each of the mega food parks were expected to have 30 to 35 processing units. And under APC, what is the target now? Under APC, the target is 5. 5. You can have 5 or more than 5. 5 is more than sufficient now. Right? So from 30 to 35, we realized that 30 to 35 is not possible. We have restructured it now. Okay. Each of these MFPs would be having around 30 to 35 processing units, and the total investment, right, would become somewhere around 250 crore rupees. Total employment generated would be around 30,000, and right, the turnover means revenue. How much revenue would be generated? Somewhere around 450 to 500 crore rupees. The mega food park scheme will function on a hub and spoke model. Hub and spoke basically model means a production distribution chain. It is a type of production distribution chain. Hub and spoke model. Very, very famous. Again, you might have not come across the term hub and spoke model, but in many cases, many industries, they actually use a hub and spoke model itself. For example, if you are trying to fly, let's say hypothetically, you want to take a flight from, let's say, Delhi to, let's say, any southern city, Hyderabad. You want to fly from Delhi to Hyderabad. Have you seen some of the flights will directly take you from Delhi to Hyderabad non-stop. But there will be certain service providers who will take one stop in between. Yes or no? In fact, this is also very famous in international flights. They will take you from here to, let's say, Saudi Arabia or UAE, right? Abu Dhabi. They will leave you there for 3 hours, 4 hours, etc. Then they will take you to America. Why do you think they do that? Why do you think they do that? Or else, can I give you one more example? Can I give you one more example? You want to travel from one city to another city, A to B, right? Now, what your travels will say, whatever right bus you have booked a seat in, they'll say, we'll send you a pickup van. Yes or no? We will send you a pickup van, and along with you, there'll be multiple people who are traveling to city C, city D, city E, etc. All of you will be taken to only one bus stop. Now you will disperse to your respective red buses. That is also a hub and spoke model. That is also application of hub and spoke. If I want to give you a last example, don't worry, UPSC will not ask you all of this. Newspaper distributors. Tell me, newspaper distributors. Have you seen the person who will come to give you Hindu newspaper, right? Assuming you are purchasing, right, physical copy. Have you seen the same person to your neighbor will give Times of India? To the third house, they will give, right, let's say Economic Times. To the fourth house, they will give, right, Dainik Bhaskar. Right? Don't you think that is also hub and spoke model? They will take the newspapers of different agencies, club together, and one distributor will distribute all these newspapers. That is also hub and spoke model. Again, don't worry, right? Don't worry about all of this. UPSC will not ask you to write a note or a essay on hub and spoke model. So credit can also be obtained under PSL. If you want to create a mega food park, you can also get credit under the private sector lending. And 100% foreign investment. FDI means foreign investment. 100% foreign investment will be allowed in the food processing parks. right? So these are certain very important points regarding mega food park MFP. The next important reform, cold chain warehousing or cold chain infrastructure. Now, what do you mean by cold chain? Please tell me. Imagine you want to purchase ice cream. Very simple example. You want to purchase ice cream. You will go to any shop. How many of you seen ice cream being kept on any shelf and not in fridges, not in refrigeration unit? Anybody in the classroom who will say, sir, I purchased ice cream, it was kept on the right on the shop like this, right in the shop, it was kept beside Parle-G biscuit, I took it and I keep. Anybody who will say that? If you have said, if you say it was kept on any rack, not in a refrigeration unit, my dear, then you have not purchased ice cream, you have purchased right basically a semi solid ice cream. What about meat products? Let me know. What about meat products? Are they not kept in the refrigeration unit? Right, when I say meat product, ready to cook, ready to eat, right? So they are kept in refrigeration unit. What about paneer? It is also kept under the refrigeration unit. All I'm trying to tell you, all I'm trying to convince you people is very simple. Whenever there are certain products in the market, the manufacturing of it, the transportation of it, as well as the sale of it always includes cold temperatures. Very simple. The manufacturing of it, the transportation of it, warehousing of it, as well as the sale of it is always done including cold temperatures. So that infrastructure you are going to use for transportation, you will require infrastructure again where cold temperature is there. For example, have you seen these vehicles? Let's say there is a truck. Assume this is a truck. Please pardon my drawing. Don't say, sir, it doesn't look like a truck. Assume it is a truck. Have you seen trucks which will have cold refrigeration unit at the top of it? Have you seen this or not? Right? A lot of these trucks will have refrigeration unit at the top. These are called as reefer vehicles. Reefer vehicles. What is the use of this? You want to transport ice creams. Can you put it in a normal truck and transport it? By the time the ice cream will reach the shop, right, the ice cream will start flowing down. You want to transport ready to eat meat products. You want to transport a seafood, right? You want to transport many of these milk products. They will use refrigeration units like this. So whenever you're going to use throughout the infrastructure, all the infrastructure for storage, transportation, sales, processing, etc., in all the infrastructure, if you're going to use a refrigeration, if you're going to use cold temperature infrastructure, it is called as cold chain. Is the definition okay with all of you? It is called as a cold chain infrastructure. So there is a huge requirement to develop cold chain infrastructure in India. Government of India as well as many agencies of Government of India actually provide lot of subsidies, a lot of assistance for the development. For example, government will provide preservation infrastructure for development of cold storage and preservation infrastructure. Government provides assistance of up to 10 crore rupees per project. There are also many other agencies such as NCCD, National Cold Chain Development Authority. There is also NHB, National Horticulture Board. There is also APEDA, very, very famous. APEDA is famous for promotion of exports from India. Please remember this. APEDA is an agency which is involved in promotion of agriculture related exports from India. APEDA basically stands for Agriculture and Processed Food Products, right? Export Development Authority. Very, very famous. APEDA, NCCD, NHB, all of these provide lot of assistance for development of cold chain infrastructure in India. Right, so these are certain very important points regarding development and promotion of cold chain infrastructure, cold chain warehousing in India. Next reform, government is also promoting 100% FDI in marketing of agriculture products. Now, what do you mean by FDI and marketing of agriculture products? Now, Let's start. There are foreign companies such as Amazon. All of you will agree Amazon is a foreign company. What about, right? What about Walmart? Walmart is also a foreign company. What about Alibaba? Alibaba is also a foreign company. So government says these foreign companies can bring money into India. This is called as FDI, by the way. FDI stands for foreign direct investment. Okay, I'll repeat it. Foreign direct investment essentially means foreign companies will bring money in India and develop infrastructure. They will invest money on infrastructure, assets, right? That is called as FDI. So there is a lot of these foreign companies who are allowed to bring money in India, and they are allowed to develop infrastructure such as storage infrastructure, right? Such as a cold chain infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, logistics infrastructure, packaging, sorting and grading infrastructure. So government of India says we are going to promote a development of, look at the statement, I'll repeat it. We are going to develop Swadeshi infrastructure with Videshi money. I'll repeat the statement. Right? Any problem here? Let me know. If foreign companies will come, invest in sorting and grading, transportation, logistics, packaging, warehousing, etc., does it mean we are going to develop Swadeshi infrastructure with Videshi money? In a sense, we are going to develop all of this infrastructure in India, but not with our money, with the foreign companies' money. Right? So that is basically the concept of 100% FDI being allowed in the marketing of domestically produced goods. Lot of agriculture products are produced in India. Agriculture commodities are produced in India. So what we are saying is foreign companies can bring their money, invest, right? Let's say develop warehousing infrastructure, develop logistics infrastructure, develop sorting and grading infrastructure. Because think of it, right? Don't you think, right? I'll just ask you a very simple question. Have you seen Amazon selling agriculture products to you? Have you seen the ads? Have you ordered something? Yes or no? At least have you seen the ads? If you have not even seen the ads, forget about ads. Go to Amazon app, just check. Can you purchase right lentils from Amazon? Can you purchase pulses from Amazon? Answer is yes, by the way. Right? Let me know if Amazon wants to sell, let's say 1 kg of rajma to you, right? Very famous, right? Especially in North India. If Amazon wants to sell 1 kg of rajma, right, that is a pulse to you, don't you think Amazon has to have a transportation infrastructure for that? Has to develop packaging infrastructure, has to develop, right, sorting and grading infrastructure, correct? Right? So argument is simple. Through this kind of a policy, we will promote foreign investment in developing infrastructure for the right processing of food, transportation, warehousing, etc. in India. This is a 100% FDI in marketing of domestically produced goods. Next one is a PMFME. We'll discuss PMFME as well as right one more reform tomorrow. Right, so we will pick it up from here, PMFME, tomorrow sharp at 5 p.m. Any other concern? If any questions you people have, let me know. I'll address your questions. Sir, in starting of the food processing, you discuss about stable prices. Don't you think that it will cause inflation? So it is good or not? My dear, always remember this. Whenever you talk about inflation in India, there is always one concern. What is the concern? The policies of government of India are always skewed. Skewed means more oriented towards protecting consumers in India. You pitch in and let me know whether I'm correct or wrong. Policies of government of India most of the times are skewed right towards protecting consumers in India. When the prices will start increasing, government will be concerned about you, me, will try to take various reforms. What will happen if the prices will fall down? right? Have you seen any reform where, again, not just government of India, even state government for that matter, right? Don't you think government policies are more skewed towards protecting consumers in India? In fact, there is a term for this, urban bias. They call this as urban biased policy. Okay, sir, how many topics are left out? Right, after this, we have industries. After that, we have investment in infrastructure, planning, employment, unemployment. That's it. Okay. What is AgriStack? AgriStack is a proposal. It's a type of technology where we are going to take lot of these technologies, right, put them under one head. AgriStack, stack means collection. Yes or no? Stack means collection. Right? For example, when your children or even today, you'll keep on arranging coins. Right? A 5 rupee coin, one above the other. 1 rupee coin, one above the other. That is called as a stack. So we will take multiple technologies, arrange them. Right? Arrange them. That is called as a agri stack. Are these PPTs sufficient for exams? My dear, from the first class, I've been telling you the same thing. Please update from current affairs. Do not stop reading, update from current affairs. For example, please tell me, in earlier classes, did we come across the term dematerialization? Let me know. Let me see how many of you remember what we have discussed. In the earlier class, did we come across the term dematerialization? Correct. Yes, we have come across it. Context of financial market. I told, whenever you want to purchase shares or sell shares through the stock market, it is always in the demat form, dematerialization. Yesterday, Government of India, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Ministry of Corporate Affairs has introduced a new measure regarding dematerialization. It was there in almost all the newspapers. I did not come across this in Hindu newspaper. I did not come across this. Right? What is the government regulation now? Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Ministry of Corporate Affairs says, even if you're an unlisted company, do you understand the term unlisted company? Even if you're an unlisted company, then also you will have to dematerialize all of your shares. Please be very careful. Right? Even if you're unlisted company, then you will have to dematerialize all of your shares. Right? So I hope you understand. So, sir, I'm asking only about static part. My dear, again, there is no difference between a static and dynamic. What is static, right? Let's say what is dynamic today will become static after 1 month. So, I hope you understand what we have discussed, right? I'll simply say PPTs are sufficient. In that particular case, everybody will stick to PPTs. Suddenly, something related to the concept that we have discussed, suddenly UPSC will ask, because it was there in the current affairs. We have discussed static, but related to that, something, one or the other thing will keep on appearing. Please update, keep on updating. Okay. Agri drones, right? Concept of government of India is that rather than being dependent on agriculture labor, will reduce the dependence. Application of fertilizers, pesticides, etc. can be done much quicker. So cost wise also it will be much lesser, because agriculture drone is a technology, right? Accidents related to the agriculture farm will come down. These are the reasons why government of India is promoting agriculture drones. Please refer to, sir, that procurement of MSF is unlimited in some states. What do you mean by procurement of MSF? Please do let me know. If a person is a farmer and he wants to use agriculture drones, what should he do? My dear, most of the farmers, again, I'm not criticizing anyone, I'm not demeaning anyone. Most of the farmers do not have sufficient resources to purchase agriculture drones. Rather than that, if there is any agriculture university, which generally is there, or there are any custom hiring centers in the region, they can approach them, they will provide the services to them. Can we take another example of eatables in cinemas for APMC, as we cannot take ours? Okay, that is basically, uh, you can take it, but it's not a monopoly per se. It's not a monopoly. Okay. Okay, from where can we get to know the different schemes of the government? I would recommend PIB, that is one very good source, Press Information Bureau. If not PIB, Yearbook, India Yearbook, right? India Yearbook also gives you a lot of information regarding the schemes. Okay, so that's it then. We'll stop the discussion today here. We will continue the discussion tomorrow. We'll start from the concept of PMFME, formalization of food processing enterprises. Okay, so take care. We will meet tomorrow sharp at 5 p.m. Good night.